Greetings and salutations. This is HUGH JARSZ. Hello, everyone in the chat. I see that we've got a few people in there. How are you all doing? Yes, I didn't have time to get in and mute the stream before it started.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. All right, I'll introduce her now. I've got a guest tonight. I've got Jessy 10.2, I believe that's the way you pronounce it, is it?
Yeah, 10.2.
10.2, yes. All the way from Europe. She does some interesting videos. We're going to have a look at those ones. But first of all, I am going to show you this video. Oops, hang on. No, stop. I didn't. Damn it. I forgot to share the audio again. Let's try again. That's a crazy corgi.
So cute.
And I was hoping Crafty Keeler would be here for the goats, but anyway. A menacing swimming corgi.
I love their little butts. They're so fluffy.
Corgi puppies are the cutest things in the world.
Absolutely. Oh my god. I'm melting.
And Artie loves me doing this to him. He has the same reaction. It's a dog's life.
It's an amazing life. Yeah, we want to have a dog also soon, but we have to wait until we moved.
Stay. She can also balance while sitting pretty. Stay. And once again, she'll stay here forever.
Now it's just getting cruel. Come on. She's so fast.
Incredible.
Good job. Good job, Colton. Give it back.
Come on, kid, give me the ball. Come on. Come on. You can move a bit more than that, you know, kid. Come on. I'm waiting here. Come on, here's the ball. Go on.
There you go, Tuck. Good boy. Okay, get it. Get it.
Corgis and snow. Now they're corgi puppies. They must be like a couple of days old.
Oh. It's the cutest thing ever.
어디가 좋니?
It looks like that's it. Right, so that's the corgis. It's been a while since I've had corgis on my live stream, so I thought it was about time I corrected that. So I put those on. They were quite nice. Right, now, Jess.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you now so that we get to learn a bit about you. So first of all, tell us your name, where you're from, what sort of videos you do for us.
My name is Jessy, and I'm from Germany. And I'm just doing everything science related. I just enjoy conspiracy theorists. And yeah, I'm trying to establish myself as a debunker.
All right, cool. What's your educational background? What field did you study in?
Actually, nothing really. I've
All right, so
been
you don't have a science background or a psychology background. It's just
no,
idiots
just
annoy you.
passion. Yeah, it's just passion, basically. But I enjoy it. I always wanted to study physics, but my school diploma was back then when I was, I think, 16, and my grades weren't good enough back then. I studied since everything, but they just couldn't give me the opportunity to redo my diploma. And so I just kind of study myself at home.
Cool. Yes, you're responsible for your own education. So yeah, if you haven't been at university or something like that, there's nothing stopping you getting on the internet and buying a textbook and things like that and studying it yourself and finding out what the reality really is out there. And of course, you can test it all yourself as well.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I did various calculations and experiments. I'm just a science nerd in that kind of way because it's basically what I do every day. I read the grade handbook so I can know myself which study is good or bad. And my stepbrother is an experimental physicist, so I had
All right.
their kind of source of information.
All right, cool. And you like corgis?
Oh, of course. I like all dogs, basically.
Yes, well, corgis in particular.
Yeah,
I just
of
want
course.
to say hi to the people in the chat. So hello to, I'll just read from the top. Hello, Sable Eagle. How am I supposed to pronounce this? Primonome ultimonome. I think that's the way you pronounce that. Hello. Jessy, yourself there. Some guy called HUGH JARSZ. Limey Play, hi. Scroll down. Carl Edwards from South Africa. Hello, Carl. Who else we got? Sable Eagle again. Oh, lots of chatter. Oh, Stevie B. Hello, Stevie B. And I think the last one. Oh, Thor Rasmussen. Hello, Thor. Always good to get hammered with Thor. And I think the last person. Oh, Daryl M's here. So every time I say, oh, I think the last person, I find another one. Stevie B. Oh, Dr. Osiris is here. And Nerfin Termson. You can never pronounce his name properly. Then again, neither can he. So that's all works out.
Yeah.
So g'day. I loved Nathan Thompson's video on PhD Tony. That was funny. Did you see that?
I actually don't know. When did he upload it?
Oh, yesterday. PhD Tony. I don't know where it was. I'd like to see the source of it.
Then I think I haven't seen it, actually.
PhD Tony said, yes, I effing can, in his normal passionate way. And Nerfin Thompson turned it all into a meme. So, and it was quite funny. So go to Nerfin Thompson's channel and check that out.
I will.
Not to mention, check out Jessy's channel. I'll just drop a link to it in the chat. No, that's not it. Damn it. But, Jessy, I might get you to do that because I thought I had it on my clipboard and I didn't. So if you just want to drop that in your chat, in the chat. Xpenguin 95, hello. Jessy 10.2, the purple haired destroyer of flurfs. How about that?
That's a title I quite like.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, the Snark. How are you, mate? You know the Snark? He does good songs about flurfs.
Yeah, I know him. I think the link doesn't work. I'm not a mod.
Oh, I can fix that. And where are you? Add moderator. There you are. You are now.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh.
Yes, the Snark subscribed to you, so good.
Yeah, I've seen it. Thank you so much.
I think I subscribed to you when you had like 60 or so.
Really?
You're nearly 300 or so.
Yeah, I think 240 almost.
Oh, okay. Yep. You'll get there. Don't worry.
Oh, I am still amazed that there are people genuinely watching what I say. So every subscriber is just like a amazement for me.
Yes, well, I want to show people part of what you do and the way you destroy the flurfs. So let me share my screen and we'll play one of your videos.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Jessy 10-2 channel. And I wanted to start this video once again with a big thank you. And this time it goes to Mr. Sensible, because he gave me the opportunity that yesterday to go on his live stream and introduce myself to a whole new audience. And each and every one of you were so supportive and nice and subscribed to my channel. And therefore also to you, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. And on that note, I thought we could watch a video together. I found a channel called Multi-Tom-Tom. I will just call him Tom in this video. And he tried to debunk mainstream science and therefore the sun, because apparently everything we know of the sun is not true, of course. So on that note, let's just jump right in.
This website is called Cool Cosmos, and it's from Caltech. Like most of mainstream science, there's so much wrong with this article. Almost every sentence in this paragraph is wrong. So
Every sentence of his is wrong.
Article. The sun is a star. Wrong.
What? I mean, I guess that's new. Tell me more.
Our sun is unique. Nothing else has the same properties as our sun. Stars, on the other hand, are really tiny compared to the sun. Stars have electromagnetic charges going through them. They are being charged, and this charge produces starlight. You can see this effect when you zoom in on a star. All stars have different colors, shapes, and sizes.
I mean, I just assume you mean something like this? And if you zoom in with, for example, Nikon P900 on a star and you get something like this, that just means that your camera is not designed to display astronomy photographs. It's just that easy. Why can't any flat earther go out and buy a half-decent telescope and compare the images you can get with the telescope with the images of a P900? And you could see that the images you get with a telescope would be much closer to the ones you can see at NASA. And no, you probably can't afford any telescope which you can get a result like the ones NASA gets, because their telescopes are huge and in space, and they have millions and billions of dollars to afford these, to build these. So no, you wouldn't get any results like NASA's. But you don't have to know that you're full of shit.
It is a huge, spinning, glowing sphere of hot gas. Wrong. The sun is not as big as they claim it is, because the sun is in our atmosphere. It is close and local. The sun is actually a spinning, glowing sphere of plasma.
Oh. Okay, so the sun is not
I love that.
a huge, spinning, glowing sphere of hot gas, but it is a tiny, spinning, glowing sphere of plasma. You know, plasma is hot gas. Oh my god. You have literally no idea what you're talking about. So, in sun's core, there is a temperature of, I think, 15 million degrees centigrade, which is pretty hot. And at this temperature, gases get kind of unstable because of the huge amount of energy. Hydrogen atoms can't keep their electrons, so the positive charged atoms and the negative charged electrons separate from each other, and that is the fourth state of matter, plasma. So besides the size, you do agree with them without even knowing it. How could you claim that the sun is a huge ball of plasma without knowing what it means? You agree with them.
The sun is the center of our solar system and contains most of the mass in the solar system. Wrong. There is no solar system. The heliocentric model is just a model.
It's like the theory of relativity is just a theory. Bullshit! The rest of his statement is basically the same as every flat earther says, like the Earth is in a closed system, everything is within the firmament and all of this crap, but I genuinely cannot believe that there are people genuinely believing in this. I mean, science is the basis of modern humanity. And it just baffles me that there are still people using the technology that came out of the science to deny science. It's just beyond me that they have to feel so important that they just make up stuff to say, ha, I know something you don't know. And so they disrespect all of what science has invented in the last just few hundred years. It's just...
All of the planets in our solar system, including Earth, orbit around the sun. Wrong. As mentioned about a minute ago, there is no solar system. Planets are not planets. They are wandering stars, meaning they do not have a regular orbit. The sun travels around the Earth, not the other way around.
Oh my God. There is so much wrong in this little bit. I mean, planets are wandering stars without a regular orbit. What? Go and buy a telescope and go out and watch some planets. You can see without even knowing much about astronomy that their orbit is regular because they come again and again and again as predicted by the heliocentric model of the solar system. Okay, if you really think you have a point besides,
oh, they're all wrong and I'm right,
then let me ask you this question.
There's a meme right there.
The question that every debunker
I think so too.
every debunker ever, where is your model that can explain phenomena like sunrise and sunset, seasons, solar and lunar eclipses, the Coriolis effect? Where's the model? The one model that can explain all of them. A model that can predict into the future. Just that. Then we can talk. Then you could actually have a point. Until then, why are you making videos without having a point?
The sun itself is not hot. Now I will explain how the sun generates heat. The sun produces electromagnetic radiation. The sun rays are in fact this radiation. On Earth, we have a thinner atmosphere at height, at elevation, containing less denser gases such as the noble gases. At ground level, we have much denser gases such as nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc., etc., etc. So the sun charges the ions in these dense gases, and the electrical charge from the sun generates heat. This is the major reason that the temperature is much colder at height.
Okay, you said the sun was a spinning, glowing sphere of plasma, but it's not hot. What? That doesn't make any sense. Plasma is hot gas. If it's not hot, it's just gas. How can something glow without being hot? How? It's just mind-blowing that he cannot see that he's just contradicting himself so many times. I mean, I cut out certain parts of the video because some of those was just basically every flat earther ever, so that's just not interesting at this point. But that is just so dumb. That just doesn't make any sense. The charge of the sun. First of all, how? What charge? How does the sun generate this charge? And what? You just claimed something with no actual substance to it. I mean, it is creative, don't get me wrong. Your creativity is just amazing. But it's more fiction than anything else.
According to our friend Wikipedia, the current official highest registered air temperature on Earth is 56.7 degrees centigrade. So the highest temperature the sun can generate is around 60 degrees centigrade. So once again, I repeat, the sun is not hot. Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay. The sun, a spinning ball of plasma, of cold plasma, is not hot, and the highest temperature sun could have is 60 degrees centigrade. Yeah. I ventured to doubt it, but okay. I mean, this is beyond me, of course. And it's so beyond any scientific matter of fact, but it is new. It is a fun video, so thank you, Tom. But you just claimed crap. You don't have anything to back up anything. All you have is, you're wrong, I'm right. Blah. You don't have a model. You don't have any predictions or calculations or equations, nothing. You just have a really, really bad video. I mean, it's fun, but I just assume you didn't mean it in that funny way everyone else is taking it. So, yeah. I'm sorry, my phone decided again that I probably don't need a video to make a video. Huh. So if the angle is a little bit different now, that's why. And let me know down in the comments, what did you think about this video, the sun is actually cold plasma thing? And leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!
Yes, you should definitely subscribe to Jessy, I think. That was an excellent video. And yeah, the cold plasma idea is just so ridiculous. I mean, you know, to be an ionized gas, that means you have to add energy into the normal state of matter to enable the electrons to be stripped off, and that's what makes it ionized. So if you add energy into there, obviously it's going to be hotter. You can't have cold plasma; it wouldn't be ionized.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was such a funny video, because it was something new. I mean, it's not just someone who just repeats what Eric Dubay or Sleeping Warrior has to say. He's dumb on its own.
Yes, he's his own brand of dumb. Yes, Tom, he's a special little poppet. He's the one famous for saying, I am just an idiot on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And he was correct.
Yeah, and I've seen he said or texted in a Irish Demon live stream that in 300 years he will be remembered as one of the greatest thinkers of our lives.
Right. The most laughable thinkers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Jeez. Oh, God, that's just shocking. But the best thing about that video for me was your reaction to it. I mean, you weren't just reading off a script or anything like that. You were totally confused by what you were hearing and how stupid it was, that anyone could be that stupid.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't want to understand how people could think like that, because when you genuinely understand why they think like this, you're basically one of them.
Hello. Pixel Domination says, oh, well, I'll show it, actually. I forgot I had that power to do that. Multi-Tom is an anti-disability moron. Well, there's many morons. Yeah. So, and we have that Gary person in the chat who I think the best policy is to just ignore him. Allow him to just show that he's Multi-Tom-Tom's superior.
Yeah, he was in the Mr. Sensible stream 2 weeks ago.
I mean, he was fairly decent, but he just comes up with crazy stuff. But yeah, it's better just to ignore him. He'll go away eventually, especially when he got up so late to just come and annoy us. So yeah, there was a few people came in. I think, did I say hi to Dr. Osiris earlier? I can't remember, but hello. And I said Snark. I think that was it. Nerf and Tombstone, if you're still around and listening, can you comment in the chat, because I've got something to ask you. Nerf and Tombstone put out another PhD Tony meme while we were looking at having a look at that. So if he's in the chat, I'll ask him if I can have his permission to display it. Go and subscribe to Nerf and Tombstone as well. And Gary Wabamba talk complete rubbish in the Mr. Sensible live chat. Yes, he did. That one.
Yeah.
There we go. I've got to get used to this sometimes. I should put in a banner, shouldn't I? Which one can I do? I'll do this one. There we go. There's a ticker. The StreamYard has all these little functions. It makes it really good. All right. So leave on the comments. So I wanted to ask you, that little yellow thing in the thing behind you, it looks like a duck with glasses on. Can you show us that a bit closer?
Yeah. That's
it is a duck. Okay.
Yeah, it's a duck. It's a DJ duck.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit too far away for me to figure out what was going on with that. So
yeah, I see.
I'm sure there's a story there.
Yeah, I am a huge techno fan, and there was
German after all.
Yeah, and there was once an old movie. It was a school project by some people, and there was a DJ. I know. Can I swear in your live stream? Because
you can say the S word, but I prefer you not to say the F word.
Yeah, it's the C word.
It's probably even further. Yeah.
It's the Thunder C word. Was the name of the DJ, and we thought it was so hilarious that we bought one of the ducks, and they're called like the DJ.
Oh, okay. I wonder what their parents thought of what they were thinking when they gave that name.
I don't know too, but it's like a golden piece of comedy from my home city. It's a really small city. The movie, I think it was watched online, I think now 7,000 times in the last 15 years. So it's basically just a teeny tiny bit of our culture in our home city. So no one knows it basically.
And whereabouts in your in Germany are you roughly? Don't give me exact.
In the south, next to Bavaria.
Okay.
The area is called Baden-Württemberg.
Cool.
Very German.
It sounds German, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you live on a diet of sausage and sauerkraut and things. All right. So we've gone through your video. What else was I going to? Yeah. So it was your reaction and the ionization, which is the thing I was going to discuss, which we have. Anything else you want to say about your video?
I Actually, I don't think so. Right from the spot, I think.
All right, then. So now I want to open up the invitation to anyone who's watching. If you'd like to come in and have a chat with us, I only have one or two, because otherwise it gets too tough. But if anyone wants to do that, send me a message on Discord. I'll just put a link to my Discord in the chat. Just let me get that. Yes, I'm very organized here. Oh, who was that? What was that? Oh, it was the Snark. You got a fan. Oops, that was not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. There you go. You got a compliment from the Snark.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I mean, who wants to look at me? You know, my face is outlawed in pretty much every country.
Oh, come on.
That's why I wear a mask. You know,
Yeah,
I have my own
see.
zip code anyway. So
Yeah, but the masks are, what do they say, at the start of the new world order and all of this stuff.
yes, that was amazing. When we had a lockdown in early January, I think January the 6th, somewhere around there, for 3 days. And that's all it was. It was over a weekend.
Mhm.
And because they detected the UK strain, which apparently is very virulent compared to the regular strain. And they wanted to get on top of it as soon as they could. So they said, all right, everyone go into lockdown, and that way it won't spread quickly. And they were going to test like crazy. And they opened up a whole lot of drive-through testing centres. And they tested something like 40,000 people, and in a city of 1 million, that's a good sample. And they're all zero, all negative. So they released the lockdown after 3 days, which was really good. And now I forget where I was going with that.
The new world order.
Oh, yes. And there was a video that the news service put up on YouTube saying, announce it, of the press conference where the Premier announced that. And hang on a sec. And in the comments for that video, all these people said, oh, first it's the mask, and then they're going to take away our rights and that sort of thing. And I was thinking, how can you make that jump in logic, you know? Who's talking to you like that? What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous. In Germany, it's actually a little bit more radical, the whole conspiracy theorists. The most famous one, Attila Hildmann, I film a video right after our stream about him, and he genuinely tries to start a civil war against our government. He tries to get his followers to buy guns, and he compares Angela Merkel to Hitler and says Hitler was a blessing compared to her. And it's really, really ridiculous. And he a few times started to storm the Reichstag, like our own Capitol storm we had last year. And it's getting pretty scary. We maybe don't have as much conspiracy theorists, but ours are ridiculously radical.
It's scary that there are so many idiots out there, isn't it?
Totally. I can't understand it. That's why I started this channel, because I have a kind of morbid fascination for stuff I don't understand. And that's why I'm so amazed by the whole flat earth thing, all conspiracy theories.
Oh, and we're joined by the Snark. Hello, the Snark.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, I have to mute the live stream, or else I've got double sound. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, now the right of the screen is not so beautiful anymore.
Well, it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll look at the middle of the screen.
Are you releasing some songs for Les Irrevolables tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. And we need to do another song because there are holes in tonight's schedule. So I have to come up with one, let's say, rather quickly.
Okay.
So I've got something lined up. I got some input from Where's Wally? And that's going to be a riot.
Oh.
All right. Wasn't I supposed to do a part for that?
Sorry?
The Where's Wally one, wasn't I supposed to do a part for that?
Oh yeah. But, he sent me some lyrics, and I added some more, and it's going to be to the tune of What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor. It's
All right.
very adaptable to, let's say, what I want. But there's also going to be a compilation about Nathan Oakley. That's going to be
okay.
at HUGH UK. And that's well, that's a screen. But okay. Blowing my
Gas
own
goes
horn.
down, go boom boom. Yeah.
Gas go down, go boom boom.
So just as you came on, I was lining up a video from Nathan Thompson. It's only 19 seconds long, so I'll just play that now. Hang on. Share audio.
You want Asgard? It's yours.
Whatever game you're playing, it won't work. You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he can.
Yes, I fucking can!
Yes, old PhD Tony's awesome, isn't he?
Yeah. It was also on Where's Wally's last video at the end, and that's not going to grow old.
Yep. Or the Bernie meme.
Oh, the yes, I fucking can. I mean, it's just like that, and let's say all the Bernie Sanders memes. I mean, it's,
Oh yeah.
If Bernie had got as much attention as before the election as he does now after the election, just from sitting in a chair, he would be president.
Yep.
He was doing it wrong. He was giving speeches and trying to encourage people to do well, and all he had to do was sit in a chair. So,
yeah.
And I just want to do another one, seeing we're on the PhD Tony theme. Just let me line. Okay, let's just do this screen and share audio. That one, go.
You are a fucking idiot! You are a fucking idiot! You're a moron!
God.
Yes, he's a passionate man, PhD Tony, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
But I mean, what else can you do at the end than just screaming in pain because of the stupidity of other people?
Well, I think that's what PhD Tony does best. He expresses what we're all feeling when we're watching this rubbish. You know?
Yeah, the dying inside.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pixel Domination said Irish Demon did one to Bob the Builder, Tony, and I've seen that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Digital Demonic Davros, how are you, mate? Yeah, I reckon he could wipe the floor with him too.
And like I said, Nathan Thompson. Tonight's main video is going to be about Nathan Thompson, so that should be good.
Yes. Which is the real one, though?
I love that. People come up with names like Nathan Thompson and Gary Wybenga's sock account.
Yes. Or Daniel Pratt's water heater.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes, the poor thing's been abused so badly. Yeah.
That's wrong as well. Daniel Pratt's got a water heater. Daniel got burpee shouting. Well, okay, you get the idea.
Yeah. I think I'm getting a lot of background noise on your mic, Snark. So,
yeah.
Oh, it's just an iPad, is it? Yeah.
That's better.
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay. I put it down.
So,
on the laptop, but maybe the laptop fan was interfering.
Oh, maybe, yes. It did sound like sort of just white noise and that kind of thing. Anyway, that's the way it is. So another video I wanted to show was a video I released over the weekend. Colin put me on to this. Well, I'll just play the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. Thanks to Colin for making me aware of the material for this video. I guess I thank him for that. I don't thank him for what he's about to put me through. And, of course, put you through as well. I thought it wasn't possible to get dumber than Sleeping Warrior and Nathan Oakley on the same stream. Witsit gets it, and Nathan Thompson said, hold my beer. I'm only going to show you about 90 seconds of it, but it can only be described, to borrow a term from Dead Kennedy in Space, as a singularity of dumb. Get your oven mitts out for this one. You'll need them. No, seriously, pause the video now and go get your oven mitts. Oven mitts, everyone.
Crazy to you that you can't in any way verify that they do. Half the time they admit that they don't write their own stuff. We know that they're signed out to megalithic companies that have a very concerted effort and interest in convincing you to, for example, glorify mental illness, to take pharmaceutical drugs, to sink into depravity, to even pretend as if somehow sodomy isn't going to kill you, right? Everything that's degenerate, run around, have babies, kill them if they become pregnant. Just do anything you can sinking into depravity. That's what they're pushing. They're controlling the lyrics, so I don't see how you don't think someone else wrote it.
Everyone knows this song, REM, and Donald said you had to be in REM sleep to go to the cloning centers. And so they have another song called Man on the Moon, exposes how we never went to the moon. So if you got here and didn't already know that, no one landed on the moon. We don't live on a spinning ball in space. But it says, oh, life is bigger. It's bigger than you. And you are not me. The lengths that I will go, the distance in your eyes. So remember how he said they went into the eye? And then it says, oh, no, I've said too much. I set it up. So right there, one of the most famous song REM has talks about going the distance into your eyes. Oh, no, I said too much.
I said too much.
Well, that's a coincidence too, Austin.
Yeah, just a coincidence that they're obsessed with the eyes. Humans can't explain the eyes, and that the literal most infamous eye that you've been shoved down your throat that these little Illuminati people love literally has a little squiggle coming out of it, and then all of the mainstream modern history cartoons are flooded with a symbology about the evolution, 3 processes of evolution, to where you go to different states, and they're just different states of the thrill, and that they oftentimes go into hibernation. And they need a willing party or vessel, right? That means you can't be protected by Yeshua. You must actually go seek some of this stuff. That's the part that I think Donald's missing a bit. I think he thinks they have a little more power than they do, right?
Oh God.
Yeah, it didn't need any parody, did it?
The analysis of I think it's the whole, maybe the numbers mean something and the lyrics, and they extrapolate so ridiculous stuff out of nothing. Like, it would be a shitty conspiracy if their hints were so obvious.
It was just a torrent of bullshit too. He just sort of kept saying words after a while. At one point he said babies are getting pregnant and kill them if they get pregnant. What? And Thompson connected REM, saying REM, that's REM sleep. No, it's REM the band. And that's how you get your brainwashing or something. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense at all. It was just idiocy.
It's just because you didn't do your own research. Otherwise, you would get it.
What you doing, Mr.
Oh, they're just walking around. Like,
I thought you were showing us something.
Oh no! If I was showing something, it's mainly like, oh, I'm going to do this later. You know the band that Conspiracy Cat sometimes works with? It's called Girls Bike. Well, I'm going to fix a girl's bike.
All right. What, a Dutchman that has a bike? That's a rare, isn't it?
I have got 4 bikes, I think.
4 bikes, yeah.
Or 5. One with my son, one with my youngest brother, and one with another brother, and 2 in France. And these are not mine. I'll fix them anyway.
You collect bikes like I collect cars.
You have too much money, or what?
Oh no, it's just a hobby.
I don't have a bike. I don't have a car.
Last night there was a girl at my door, She was out with her father, who's a colleague. They were walking the dogs, and she had some chocolate cake for me.
Oh,
And now she's fixing her bike, so it's a good trade.
yeah, I
It's
think
a good
so
trade,
too.
yeah.
Makes a change from making songs for flat earthers, about flat earthers, I mean.
It's funny how we were so traumatized by that Witzer Gets It and Nathan Thompson video. We went into something completely different, which was really good. And I saw Dora Unku in there, another Dutch person. So hello to you. And I think someone bought me a cup of coffee.
Oh, really?
I didn't catch the name though. We were talking, too busy talking. So whoever it was, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that.
Let's just go outside, just develop it.
So what's the weather like in Holland at the moment?
Oh, well, I'm in France.
Oh, France. Okay.
I'm going to work in a few days, right here. I'll be here for all summer. So this is it. That's the frame of the canopy. The canopy is not on. And got my van there, there somewhere. Yep. And my own car. So, yeah, I'm all set.
All right. What's the temperature there at the moment? What's the temperature there at the moment? I see you've got a jumper on.
It's yeah, it's quite cold.
What, below zero or?
Not that. No, it's I had some snow on the way here last Saturday, which got me stuck on the hill. And the night temperatures may drop below 0 Celsius, but other than that, it's well cold but bearable.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it was a cooler day here. It got down to about 31 degrees or so. Celsius, of course.
Yeah.
This is our high summer. It's been a cold summer, actually. Most of the temperature's been around the 27 to 30 mark. So haven't had too many really hot days. So it was Stevie B apparently bought me a cup of coffee. Thank you, Stevie B. Weather. So Dora and Koo says the weather sucks in Holland, rain, fog, cold.
Yeah, in Germany too.
Oh, the weather's rubbish in Wales. What a surprise.
I'll keep my phone still. I'm shaking.
Oh, let's change the ticker. Oh, saying we're talking about coffees. I'll show this one. Yeah. So, all right. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. It was great to have you on. We've only been going for 48 minutes. We can do a bit more than this, surely. I was hoping more people would be coming in.
Well, Hugh, how about this? Last year has been a disaster year for Flat Earth with disappearing channels and disappearing Facebook groups. What do you think 2021 is going to be for them?
Well, I think two things will happen. I think those who are left will get even crazier, as we just saw with Witzer Gets It and Nathan Thompson. And then the same thing will happen to them. Their channels will get cancelled, as it already has to Nathan Thompson. And they'll just get to the point where their audiences shrink to basically nothing. You see that with Randy's channel. You see that with Oakley's channel. And they'll just disappear. And then there'll be a new wave in a year or two, because there'll always be Flat Earth while there's stupid people, and there will always be stupid people.
And there will always be Jessy's.
Yeah. To tell them that they're stupid.
That's right. Yeah, it'll always be us to respond to them and point out where they're wrong, so that other people who aren't as knowledgeable will learn that they don't have to follow Flat Earth cult and stupidity. They can actually live in the real world for a change.
Yeah.
About what I thought about it too. It's going to be even worse than last year, but some others are going to take their places. You can see that on a Fight the Flat Earth's streams, because you used to have Flat Earthers that, well, okay, they scream and shout, but just when you thought they cannot get any dumber, they do.
Yeah.
He's also having a lot of trouble getting anyone to come on. It's getting, because the ones he's getting he's not only scraping the bottom of the barrel, he's digging through the bottom of the barrel. The ones that come on are you just can't talk to them. They just apply the usual tactic of just talking over you, and they don't really care what you've got to say. They just spew their rubbish, and it's so obvious rubbish that it actually hurts their cause for them to express it.
Oh yeah.
You know what Blue Marble says?
Sorry, I missed that one.
You know what Blue Marble Science says about that? When we say, how stupid can you get? It's a question, not a challenge.
Absolutely.
But I think many flat... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you go.
I think many flat earthers will come back after the whole COVID thing, because on many channels I've seen they just don't do much flat earth stuff at the moment, because COVID-19 is a way better conspiracy theory at the moment. But when this calms down a little bit, when most people are vaccinated and they can do whatever they want, I think at some point they will come back to flat earth like before, or even worse.
I see people giving weather reports in the chat. So Conical Reason, I'll show it. Conical Reason says it's better than -25 with wind chill of -45. I presume that's in Celsius, because this is the world, we should use Celsius.
Yeah.
In Denmark, it's -3, but sunny. And here in Brisbane, it's 25 degrees at 9 o'clock at night.
Stop bragging. We have also, I think, below 0 degrees, and it's switching between rain and snow.
Yeah, it's never snowed here ever, and I've always, whenever it has snowed, I've been anywhere where it has snowed. It's always an amazing thing. It's very magical.
That's
but
beautiful.
A torrential tropical storm or a cyclone, that'd probably be magical to you too. I guess that's the other end of the scale.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to see a cyclone. They're rather destructive. So
I was in St. Georgen 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, during the winter, for 2 months, and there was a lot of snow there.
Sorry, I missed where that was.
St. Georgen, so that's in Schwarzwald, in the Black Forest in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And,
so up in the mountains, in the Alps,
shoveling snow every day, but it was good fun.
Really, that was fun.
Oh yeah, it was a daughter of the lady I was staying with. She was 8, and there was a slope there. And after, let's say, the snow shoveling was done, we would go down the hill, say on a sledge or whatever, and it was great. I built a snowman of biblical proportions.
Oh, amazing!
Biblical. What, he turned into Godzilla or something, did he?
Well, we can do that bigger, and we did.
Well, you guys toboggan down snow, but what we do here is we go over to Stradbroke Island, and there's massive sand dunes there, about 100 meters tall, and we get a bit of cardboard and we sail down those. It's great fun. Of course, the sun heats up the sand, so it's really hot, so when you fall off, you burn yourself. But anyway.
Ouch.
Why you hide your face?
Sorry, what was that?
So that's why you hide your face. It's burned.
No, it's just hideously ugly.
Prove it? No, never mind.
No, you don't want me to prove it, believe me. Okay. Dora's asked you a question, the Snark.
Oh, I haven't seen that. What did you
I've
say?
just displayed it on the screen.
Oh, I say it was based on the side of a biblical donkey. No. Biblical donkey. Who was that? It was Balaam's ass, right?
Yeah, I can't think of a huge donkey in the Bible, but
Oh well, no. There's more than one donkey story in the Bible. You got Balaam's ass. There was a talking donkey, if you like. And of course, there's also that thing not in Psalms, but in what is HUGH. What's that in English? So that's the next one. That's Solomon's Songs, and it's something like there. She lusted after her lovers who had emissions like the donkeys and appendages like horses. Honestly,
Okay.
right. It's in Solomon's Songs. Yeah, well, if you're an atheist, you got to know your Bible.
Yeah, it's you can know lots of books, can't you?
Absolutely.
One thing I want to ask you though, the Snark, you seem to speak a lot of languages. How many do you speak?
4.5, I always say. So it's Dutch, German, English, French, and enough Spanish to go around to be able to read the newspaper.
Wow.
And I can sing in Italian and Latin and whatever. So.
All
Yeah,
right.
I learn Latin at the moment. I think it's such a cool language, and to know that back then they used almost the same words at times that we use today. I think it's pretty cool to see where our languages come from.
It is.
Yes, the etymology of words is quite fascinating when you get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people come up with certain things? And particularly in English, because it's such a mishmash of other languages, the two main ones being the Germanic languages that came over with the Saxons and Angles, and the French, which is a Latin language, which came over, which was a language of the royals from Henry II or so on. Well, no, we're actually from William the Conqueror on, I should say. And that the royals didn't speak the language of the people for about 500 years, and then eventually they learned the language, and it sort of merged. And because people had to deal with the royals because they were the ones with the money, and they needed to communicate with each other. So that's an English formed out of that. And by the time of Henry VIII, it was pretty much what we say today. They use different phrases and things, just as people of today use different phrases to my grandparents' era, for example.
Yeah.
I've got something for Dora. Dora, your Spanish is 6 beers, dos cerveza, dos cerveza, dos cerveza. You can shorten that to tres cerveza, tres cerveza.
Okay.
But you know, uno, dos, tres, right? So you can remember tres cerveza.
What is she saying in Japanese here? I thought she was Vietnamese.
Dora, no. Right. Thanks, Dora.
What does that mean?
I don't know. We'll have to wait for the translation.
Sable Eagle's getting in on the show.
Saying FFS.
I need my son here. He speaks Japanese. So.
No Nihongo wa warui desu, Osiri-san. Oh, your Japanese is terrible, Dora. Mine is non-existent. I know wasabi.
Can any of you speak Strine, though?
Australian? No.
Strine, yeah. Jessy won't get this. There was a guy in the 60s and 70s called Barry Humphries. Well, you know him. You've probably heard of Dame Edna. And he did a character. The name of the character is not coming to me right. Barry Mackenzie is the name of the character. Or even Dame Edna does it. She refers to the way Australians speak as strine, which is Australian, but it's compressed into strine because they're making the point that they think, at least, that Australians do that. They compress words and sentences like that. So, and it comes from things like, "How you going, mate?" which we sort of say is one word, even though it's several.
Yeah,
I
see.
Going, yeah. How you going, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, we have that in my area in Germany also. We say Swabian and Bavarian. It's like second language, because I didn't know Swabian wasn't German until I got to school, and my first exercise in the German lesson, I didn't know anything because I thought Swabian was German. So it's basically a whole different language.
Well, from what I understand, that Germany is a federation of different nations, and they all had their own dialects, at least, and they had a standard German on top. But it's the same in Italy as well. Modern Italian is a standardized Italian, but they've got different dialects all over Italy as well. So, that's just the nature of the culture there, I guess.
Yeah, Totally. I have family in the northern of Germany, and they actually don't understand me at some times.
Yeah. Well, especially when you speak so much English.
Yeah, that too.
Sorry, the snake?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's only when you speak English. Sadly, well, that's a lot of compression. Did you see what he wrote there? HUGH JARSZ. Around here we abbreviate, hello mate, I'm alright. Are you alright too? Right.
Well, I remember Scousers used to say, all right. When I was living in England, it's like, oh, how are you all right? And they mean, all right. So, yes, it's not just Australian.
My favourite description of a lot of Australian aspects is by Douglas Adams. Have you ever seen Douglas Adams on Australia?
I'm sure I've read it at some point, but it's not coming to me right now.
I would say it's priceless. It should be all over the internet. It probably isn't, but you can certainly find it. It's like
I think Douglas Adams is probably the best wordsmith of the last century. The way he uses words is just amazing. He comes up with concepts that you just never imagined were possible, and probably no one else has ever said them. I mean, if you read just some of his sort of blog work, it's just amazing stuff. He's an amazing writer. And, of course, he wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which will forever be his masterpiece, because it truly is.
In the chat called Vroomfondel. You should know.
Yeah. Magic thighs. Yeah. He's speaking German at the moment, but anyway. You know what I think? I think we should encourage... Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No. Mein Deutsch ist sehr Schloss. So it says German is very castle.
Very castle. I think we should strongly encourage Dora Nku to come in, because she's probably one of my better supporters, and she's been there since the start, and I'd love to have a chat with her.
Amazing.
But can we get her to come in, though?
Hey, kom erbij, Dora. Hartstikke lachen.
Let me see if I can encourage her to come along. I'll send her a link if I can find her. Where is she? Oh, it's been a while since I sent her a message.
Oh, no.
Oh, work's calling. Gotta go.
There it is. You've got to go?
No, that's what Dora put in the chat.
Oh, all right. He's lying. You lie. Why you lie?
Oh, no.
Come on, Dora. You can come in. We can do this. You can do this.
Come on. It's not that bad.
It's just the snark, Jessy and I. You know us. You've been watching us for the last few minutes.
I'll shut up. I'll try very hard.
No, she's not. I don't know if we're going to get her. We'll see. Work's calling. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I don't think you'd be scared. We're just pussycats, aren't we? Come on, Dora. You're a lovely person. I'm sure that's all that'll come across. You don't have to put your camera on. We just want to hear your voice. Yes, David, space comma N. Dora.
Come on.
Thor's getting into it now. Everyone's doing it. I've sent you the message in Discord, Dora. All you have to do is click on the link, and then I'll accept you in. And you don't have to turn on your camera or anything. Anyway, well, hopefully she'll come in.
People around. Yeah.
Hopefully she'll come in. But so, shall we go looking for some stupid, eh?
Oh yeah.
Always good.
Let's see what's happening. Be the changes to the later. No, let's look at Daniel Pratt. Let's see what he's doing, because he's real stupid.
Oh God, yeah. He's amazing. When I need a little more hate for humanity, I always check his channel.
Oh my God!
Irish demon.
Let me show you this. This is scary.
Global known Irish demon are after him.
See that picture? That's his profile picture. He's with kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's entitled to have kids, but it scares me that he's in charge of kids because his behaviour he shows.
Oh yeah.
You just worry about those kids. All right, Dora. Hopefully you can come on. Hopefully you can come on another time. I'd love to have you on. So let's see Daniel Pratt's latest video, 6 hours ago. All right. About QAnon. Well, to be honest, I find QAnon very boring.
Yeah.
Bill Gates is my hero. He saved the world. It spelled badly. Oh, Joe Budenson, you emperor's cheese. This is all rather stupid. You can see it just from the... all right, so he will probably give me a copyright strike if I play the whole thing. Let's play this one from 15 hours ago, and let's talk over it. For hell, let's just play a bit, talk a lot, and that sort of thing. And that way we'll avoid it.
I can't do it.
All right. Snark, can I get you to mute your mic when you're not talking in this, because we're getting a lot of background noise.
Sure.
Hey, what's up, guys? I was just reading about my good buddy Bill Gates here. You know how he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but how Bill was friends with and business associates with Jeffrey Epstein after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of being a degenerate pedophile. That's just because Bill loves Bill sees himself like Jesus. He just loves everybody. He's just like, love yourself. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you do to anybody else. Just love yourself. Bill, he's a special kind of guy.
Yeah, I suspect Daniel's been loving himself a little bit too much.
Oh yeah.
It's very traumatic for that water heater as well.
Oh, the background noise really hurts in the ears with my headphones.
Yeah, it's definitely the Snark. I just muted him, but I
Okay.
want him to talk as well.
Yeah.
So if you can mute yourself when you're not talking, please, the Snark, and then we won't get the background noises.
Okay.
Guy, all those vaccines he's saving the world with. Bill just wants to help everybody. That's why he bought up all the farmland in the world so he could grow nice, healthy GMOs so that he could be genetically modified.
Did he just get a call?
He loves you. You'll probably live to be like 666 years old. So
that's another thing. They go on with 666. Don't they know it's actually 616 if you read the Bible correctly?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I never read the Bible completely.
It's a mistranslation. Yeah. People forget that the Bible was not written in English. English didn't even exist back then.
And it was translated, I think, multiple hundred times.
Yeah, there are many different versions because different scholars have different opinions on how to translate it. That's why you get different versions.
Yeah, I've seen it with some paragraphs in German and English. Even the basic meaning is so different in some paragraphs. Ouch.
Yeah, just muted the Snark again. I think he's trying to work on it.
Yeah, but the meaning between the English Bible and the German Bible, for example, there's really big differences in the meaning of many paragraphs. I mean, I didn't read both versions completely, so I can't know if there's, I don't know, greater differences, but only the parts I read were completely different. It's ridiculous that people think that could be any scientific basis.
Well, it's not. It's not. I think I see you put on headphones, so it should work a bit better, I guess. Have you muted yourself? Because you're not muted on this end. I'm not hearing you at all. I can see your lips moving, but yeah, I'm not hearing anything. I don't know if he can hear me. But, I'm sure he'll try and figure it out.
Mm.
This is riveting. All right, let's see what else the Pratt has to say.
Just thank Bill like you should, okay? And of course, then there's the time had that child porn trading employee of his arrested at his house, because it's not like Bill possesses the IT capabilities to do a background check on this guy before he employs him.
Why would you do a background check?
And these people, it's not on their USB stick they have in their pocket everywhere they go. They hide this stuff. So it's just like the victim blaming things. I mean, Bill Gates has no responsibility what they do in their free time. It's horrible what they did, but
yeah,
how could he know?
Yeah, he has to assume that his employees are there in good faith and they're not involved in criminal activity. And it's usually written into your employment contract that if you're involved in criminal activity, you'll be dismissed. So that's, I'm sure he was. We seem to have lost the spark.
Oh, yeah, I think Microsoft is such a big company. There's so many people working there. The possibility in every big company is pretty high. I think that there are some people who do criminal things. That's just statistics.
Yeah, and human nature.
Yeah.
So much of the world is governed by human nature. And that's both a powerful force and a very sad one sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and we should thank Bill and Elon Musk and all that sort of thing. A lot of the billionaires of the world are actually working to solve problems that governments can't. And, you know, like Elon Musk put up $100 million. I'm not sure how much he's worth, but that's a big chunk of his finances to come up with a carbon sequestration solution, one that actually works to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide, well, carbon really, in the atmosphere. It's carbon dioxide. You want to take the carbon off the oxygen atoms and release the oxygen. And if you can do something with the carbon as a result, that'd be awesome in a way that it's inert and growing trees doesn't work because trees will die and release their carbon dioxide again. You need to do something where you take it out permanently. And that will require a lot of electricity. And at the moment, to generate a lot of electricity means burning a lot of coal. So we need to come up with better solutions than we have instead of doing ones that are politically expedient.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the billionaires working on it.
And it's so sad. I mean, for example, especially Bill Gates, he has invested so much money. He donated to so many institutes and charities and stuff just to help the world because he says, hey, I don't need that much money. No one needs that much money. And he's the devil, basically, for so many people. I think it's so disheartening to think about a person donating 90% of what they own to do better things to make the world a better place. And in the end, it's just everyone hates him. I think that's so horrible.
Well, not everyone, but he never set out to make a lot of money. It just happened because he happened to be on the crest of the wave of the PC revolution. And you know, he's doing the right thing with his money. What you hate are billionaires who, like Scrooge McDuck, who put it in a big room and swim in it or something like that. That's the sort of billionaire you hate. But someone, and I don't really like to call him a billionaire. I mean, that's what he is. But really, his worth to the world is he's a super achiever. Yeah. He can achieve things. He can get things done. And that's the value he is to the world. And that's what he's been doing ever since he retired. And so, yeah, he's someone to be respected, as is Elon Musk for the same reason. He's trying to fix problems that governments can't.
Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, what kind of computers and phones do these conspiracy theorists use? I mean, Bill Gates has everywhere kind of, we say in Germany, the fingers in. It's the saying in German, I don't know how it's in English, but even Apple, he funded from his own pocket, his private pocket, when Apple had the financial problems. He gave Steve Jobs back then a shitload of money just to help him that he will not be a monopoly, because it's illegal. But Bill Gates is everywhere. Microsoft is the basis from so many things. What do they use for their shitty videos?
Yeah, the hypocrisy is standard for these sort of idiots. Anyway, let's see what else the Pratt has to say. He isn't that entertaining this time. I love it when he laughs because he just looks so insane.
So you can't hold Bill responsible. There's Bill just showing that love again. Sharing is caring. So Bill loves it when his employees trade child porn. Right, Billy boy? Yeah. So make sure to run along and get your vaccine now. Don't worry about all those people in Africa he's killed and maimed. They were probably flat earthers anyways, so it's all good. Just get on your knees and...
What people in Africa are that he's killed and maimed? He saved lives in Africa.
Yeah, but there was, I think, 20 years ago, a big scandal where some vaccinations were given to people in Africa, and afterwards all of the women were infertile. And that was a big scandal, but they handled it good. And that was just side effect, basically, that they didn't know about. But they took it right from the market. They helped the people they vaccinated. And that is basically what they used to say, look, they are killing everyone. And they didn't kill anyone. There were just horrible side effects that shouldn't have been there. But the testing since then has improved so much. So it's basically not an argument anymore.
Yeah, it's but you know, facts don't get in the way of their story, of course. They don't want to. They much rather stick, I want to be angry at him, so I'll stick with the fake story and muddy the waters, basically. Make it harder for him to help more people, which is the sad bit. So just a few things in the chat I want to address. I'm not sure how I'm getting in the way of Carl Edwards' money, but okay. Stevie B, I've got an email about how much you donated to coffee. I'll keep that secret between us, of course, but thank you very much. It's very generous. The Snark, he's got headphones, but he moved to France and can't find the microphone, so it looks like we've lost the Snark. But we'll get him on another time. We always love to have the Snark. Stevie B suggests the Snark use a whiteboard. I think that would work. Go all conspiracy cats, or baldy cats, really, and it uses the whiteboard. Trees as a carbon sink. Yeah, well, they are a carbon sink, but they're only temporary. I mean, they'll live 80 years or something, then die, and then release the carbon again. Or be used as firewood or whatever, and it's a short-term thing, relatively. You need something a bit more permanent than that. That's what Elon Musk is asking for. $100 million should do the trick. You know, the X Prize is only $10 million, and they got people to space. So with $100 million, you can imagine what they can achieve.
And that's amazing how much money he invests in this, because he knows there are people who can do that. We have the intelligence in some people, at least, and we have the technology to do that. So it's amazing that he can fund such things.
Well, I would have thought the first person to be able to do that would be Elon Musk himself. So it's sort of weird that he's asking other people. But then again, you know, now he's a manager. I guess he has to rely on the intelligence on other people.
Yeah.
See you later, Penguin 95. Thank you for stopping by.
Bye.
Sorry, there was something else I wanted to look at. Pratt should be held liable for his utterances. Yes, he should. I understand he has been visited by the police at some point, just like Oakley and Riley. Don't recall the details of it though. Yes, Roomfondle said fingers and many pies, and I wanted to say in response to that, pies. All right, we have 20 seconds or so left to Pratt. Let's see what he says.
And praise the almighty Bill Gates, because he can't love pedophiles enough. He's just a loving kind of guy, that Bill.
Just disgusting, isn't it?
It's horrible. I mean, I don't know if it's illegal in America, but in Germany, it is illegal to accuse someone of stuff like this. You can have criminal charges pressed against you, and that's good as it is.
Well, at the very least, it's slander. I wonder if I sent this to Bill Gates's lawyers, how they would react. I suspect they have a standard policy of just ignoring idiots like Pratt. And this isn't going to get into the mainstream anyway. So, but
to press charges against them, we have it at the moment in Germany with someone I know at least. They think then they could turn around the whole thing to say, oh, look, the government, the elite, they want to silence me. That's why they do this. So if you press charges against them, that just feeds the fire. Yeah.
Gives them attention they don't deserve.
Yeah.
Hello, Professor Phil Bill, for popping in. I'll send you a link, actually, if you want to come in. 5 seconds left. Let's see how stupid he can be.
Make sure to run out and get your vaccine now.
No, that was it. I think we talked over that enough to not be considered copyright. I'll just send Professor Bell a link if he wants to come in. Where's he? There you are, Prof. Phil. Yep. So if you want to come in, Professor Bill, click on that. Roomfondle, there was an article on Reddit yesterday talking about how Bill has just become aware of the lies the conspiracists are spreading. Yeah. I mean, if you're Bill Gates, it'd piss me off if I was him. Yeah. You've worked all your life to do so much for so many people around the world. And there are idiots out there saying that you're a pedophile in response. I mean, you just can't win. And sooner or later, billionaires who have this opportunity, oh, hello, Meppet, and she's going to bed already, the first time I see her. It's good to see her. They work so hard all their lives to be able to help all these people. Mm-hmm. They do it, and people call them pedophiles in response. Sooner or later, someone's going to make $1 billion or whatever and not give it away because of dickheads like this. Yeah, totally. That's the worry I have with all of this, because when people are so ungrateful because they use this technology all the time. And at some point people will say, well, F you, I'm not going to do this. Hypocrisy, thy name is Flurf. Or conspiracy nut, anyway. So what's the craziest conspiracy you've come across so far? The craziest, I think, someone sent me a link to a video where someone denied the existence of atomic bombs and therefore the whole atomic physics thing, that it just doesn't exist. It's just a lie from the government again. So they deny the whole basis of the last 100 years of science. Yes, just because it's inconvenient to them. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But the worst thing for me is when they deny, for example, the Holocaust and stuff. That's why I get physically sick when I read or hear something like this. I guess that's a good question. I read something that 40% of teenagers in Germany have never heard of Auschwitz. Really? What are you taught about it when you were a child? Because you're late 20s, aren't you?
Yeah. We have it in school. That's but yeah, I don't know if it's a law, but the government has these points we have to learn in school, and the Holocaust is a thing. I think in 7th grade we had in history lesson, I think 2 months, just Second World War. So we talk about that very often, I think.
Yeah.
And because the German government and most of the people at least say we have to talk about it so it won't happen again.
Yep.
And we don't just ignore what happened, like, for example, Americans do with Native Americans a few hundred years ago. No one talks really about that. And in Germany, it is part of our culture. We're not proud of this part, but we talk about it because it is important to know what happened back then.
All generations need to know about that all around the world, not just in Germany. It was the World War II killed 20 million people. And if a similar war was held today, it'd be something like 200 million, simply because the population's greater.
Yeah.
So it's something to be avoided if we can, not to mention all the economic devastation it does. You could say it enabled Germany and Japan to rebuild their manufacturing infrastructure and become even greater as a result, economic powerhouses and things. Yes, Tony, if you want to come on, that'd be great. But, you know, Germany and Japan were utterly destroyed. I mean, nuclear bombs in Japan. So, and hundreds of thousands of people killed, millions.
Millions,
large part of that 20 million were Germans. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It genuinely broke my heart when I read an article by the Jerusalem Post, the Israeli version, and they wrote an article about the Attila Hildmann, and that they were genuinely scared that there is a German who is anti-Semitic and racist and everything, and so radical that he again blames the family Rothschild and the bad Jews Hitler just wanted to save us Germans and all of that, and they are scared for what's happening next. And that's so horrible that people have to be scared of someone in Germany. And we will be again known for it when we don't manage to shut him down, basically.
Which is a little unfair because you've got nutters like that in every country of the world who say things like that. And while they're a tiny minority, there really isn't anything to worry about. But as long as you're teaching children what happened and why it was bad, which you're telling me that Germany is, then there shouldn't be an issue because the vast majority of people will oppose it. And that was the problem with the Nazis when they came to power. Not enough people opposed them.
Yeah.
And Hitler got rid of most of his opposition and was standing unopposed. And he and his thugs controlled all the power, and people supported it because it was so different from the previous government, which was all old and corrupt. You got to remember, if you're going to change, you got to change for the better, not for the worst.
And that is the point. That's why I think it's so horrible, because we did change for the better, and it is a part of our culture. Again, because we visited the KZ, the concentration camp in Dachau, with my class from school. Every year, the classes go to visit that we know how it looked and that we can feel the atmosphere of it all.
Yeah.
But he thinks that it didn't happen as it was and all of this stuff. So it's frustrating because people are afraid if they lock him up, the people go crazy because of it, because then the government will shut the truth seeker out and all of this. So there's genuinely a concern of a civil war started by them.
So the snark, do we have you back fully? No, no volume. The microphone's not working. But we are joined by PhD Tony. Yes, he can.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
That way I don't have to shout the way I normally do.
It's so magnificently you do it. What was that quote from? I didn't see the video.
That was actually a dispute between me and J.L. Warren. J.L. Warren was trying to assert that the invasion of the Capitol would simply not have happened had there not been a COVID pandemic, and he was telling me that I couldn't say otherwise. And there's a bit of a lag between me and the rest of the world, and it sounded like he was talking over me. So my response, when I look back at the video, is somewhat disproportionate, but immensely funny. So, yeah, it evens out, I guess.
We love your passion, Tony. That's why we watch it.
Thank you.
We're also joined by Professor Phil Bell. Hello, Phil.
Good evening to you.
Hello.
And good evening, Tony.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Jessy.
Hi.
Yes, have you guys met Jessy before?
I have not
No, we
met
haven't.
Jessy. I've seen her, of course. Apparently, she's been off doing her own thing in debunking space, and I just have been completely ignorant of her. But I saw her on Mr. Sensible the other week. Now she seems to be everywhere. I just can't escape her.
Yeah, it's wild. What?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Good. I watched one of your videos, Jessy. Very good job.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Yeah, we showed one of her videos earlier. She was hoeing into multi-tom-tom about the sun being cold plasma.
Okay.
And yeah, she did a very good job on that one. It was good.
So what is the sun? About 6.5 by 10 to the 26 watts of energy per day, and cold plasma can do that, can it?
Apparently, heats up to 60 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, I've actually been a bit naughty this week, and I've got banned from a flat Earth Discord thing. You see,
really?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I was doing. So I'm confessing here. So what I was doing was I was listening to them in the live chat,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on YouTube, and then anybody who came on who was struggling, I DM'd them the answers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were actually arguing with me.
You're right.
But
Well, I
then
think
I got
that's the. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's the only thing that I bring. Obviously, it certainly isn't charm and diplomacy. Those are not my strong points. Yelling, yeah, that's a good one for me. But I think that a lot of these flat earther arguments hinge critically on the fact that the average person has no reason to know the science that they're alluding to, and that they're getting completely wrong, or that they're grotesquely misrepresenting. And I kind of think that, you know, people like yourself, Phil, or myself, and Jessy, and Hugh, you know, who has his own science qualifications, you know, we know enough science to say, okay, well, that's bollocks, and here's why. And the more we can do that in a public forum, the more I think that sort of we inoculate the uninfected against sort of the glamour, whatever glamour there's left of serfdom.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think if I've got any good reason to just waste any time with this, and that's to try and stop people from falling into this cesspool of flat Earth nonsense, you know. So hopefully they can listen to some science. But I have another motive, Tony, and that is I'm actually against the elitism that you and I would experience in academia. You know, and I actually like talking to people about science.
Yeah,
I don't have this elitist view of it.
There is an element of that. I'm sort of stuck in between, and I'm not sure what your background is, Jessy. So what's your sort of scientific background?
I
Where do you
don't have one.
You don't have one? Okay.
No, I am just genuinely passionate about science. I wanted to study physics, but they just didn't let me. And so I just basically study for myself. I have thousands of books for the first semesters of physics and theoretical physics, and I just do it myself then.
Well, that's good.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, and perhaps Phil's experience is the same, perhaps it isn't, but I find that, you know, there'll be times where I will discover a branch of science that I don't really understand. So I'll go away and I'll get the textbooks and I'll just read up on it. And I mean, that's kind of how I acquired my familiarity with climate science, which I'm quite passionate about. But it isn't my area of expertise. And originally I thought, well, this is a debate I can leave to the experts. But it didn't settle down, and eventually I thought, well, actually, I'm going to have to educate myself as impartially as I can on what's going on here, and see what the story is. But self-education is fine, and I can't echo Phil enough. I think that sort of enough academics are very loath to deal with public misinformation experts, because they're aware that when they do so, you know, there's no good that can come of it apart from, you know, for them, right?
Yep.
You give notoriety to the idiot. Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell, Tony. You can easily say the wrong thing and then and even undo your own self.
Yeah.
Well, look at the way they jump on Neil deGrasse Tyson about saying that stuff is flat from 100,000 feet. You know.
Yeah.
You need the context to understand that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the. I'm not sure if you guys saw NC Toons. I can't remember, Jessy. I just see you in the chat all the time now, so I can't tell whether you were in the chat for MC Toons debate the other day. But
don't know.
Okay, but there was a guy who's a guy called Water is Level, and his argument was, you know, gravity doesn't exist because gravity is a force because Brian Cox and others say so. Well, yeah, but Brian Cox also says that the Earth is round. Well, that's an appeal to that's an appeal to populism. That's a logical fallacy. Well, hang on. Why is it okay? You know, and I thought MC10 let him skate a little bit. Why is it okay for you to bring up Brian Cox to suggest that gravity isn't a force, but it's not okay for us to say Brian Cox says the world is round? Why does it only count in your favor?
Well, that's begging the question.
Yes, he was definitely a graduate of the Oakley fallacy school of argumentation. It was quite obvious that he trained under Nathan Oakley. Yeah,
or QE one. Yeah,
one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those two. Neither of them actually believe themselves that the Earth is flat, of course.
No, does anybody know what quantum erasers qualifications are?
No.
What is science background? It's Well, I mean, he comes up with weirdly sort of literate things to say. He's very selective about how he applies them. For instance, one of Nathan Oakley's arguments is the reason we have a pressure gradient is because there are trees at ground level, but there are no trees at 10,000 feet. Which, yes, true, Nathan. Excellent point. I hadn't quite appreciated. But I said, well, look, trees don't actually produce gas, right? Do you understand that? And, trees take in carbon dioxide and they produce oxygen. And Quantum Eraser's counter was, well, we can tell that all of the oxygen that comes out of trees is from the water that they absorb, not from the carbon dioxide. It's called the Hill reaction. And I didn't know that offhand at the time that Quantum Eraser said this. And I looked into it, and I'm not entirely certain that I agree with the ultimate conclusion of that, because if you suggest that all of the oxygen has to come with the water, then the chemical equation no longer balances. There are too many oxygens. You require twice as much water as the basic reaction suggests.
Well,
but nonetheless,
Tony, just as a chemist, I can tell you this now. I disagree. I think that that the water does come from the that the oxygen comes from the carbon dioxide, and of course some of it will come from the water, but mostly it's the carbon dioxide. Because, like you said, the equation has to balance.
We need PhD Pete in here. He's a plant scientist.
Yeah. So it's but the fact was that Quantum Eraser was, had this two-hand. Obviously, he wasn't taking issue with Nathan Oakley suggesting that plants, the plants, the trees produce gas, which is demonstrably false, right? And it wouldn't matter even if they did, okay? The gravity gradient in the atmosphere owes nothing to where gas is entering or leaving. You could reverse it, and it would still not change the pressure gradient. But he was correct about the Hill equation. And that makes me wonder, so how scientifically literate is QE?
Well, doesn't that just demonstrate that he's read something in a book somewhere and thought,
That's it.
He doesn't really understand it, but he says, oh, that disproves that point.
He doesn't understand it. Yeah.
I prefer to go back to Phil's argument that he's lying about it. I think he does understand it, but he's just bullshitting people. That's my conclusion. Somebody that scientifically literate has to know that the flat Earth nonsense they're spouting is complete gibberish.
Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe that he's a flat earther. I think he's learned how to take some money out of how to fleece some uneducated people, and it serves his purpose. That's all.
Yeah.
Same with Oakley. Exactly the same thing with Oakley. That between the two of them, they can just fleece a few dumb people, and they're happy with that. Well, there's the old adage, sheep will be shorn.
Yep, that's true. I just want to say, Jessy, your hair is lovely. I love what you've done with your hair there.
Thank you so much.
No, my daughter has
when
similar
I'm bored.
hair. My daughter has similar hair, so that's why you got my attention.
Well, actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the plot hole. He's sort of on the periphery of the debunking community. But he's, Johnny O. His daughter, one of his daughters, I think it's Bella, has similar hair, except that it's blue, not purple. Yeah, so she's...
well, that looks like potassium permanganate there.
Yeah. On these crystals.
That's good.
So I'm not sure that I've ever asked you this question, Hugh, but I want to ask you and Jessy both. Sort of, what was it that motivated you to get into sort of the debunking side of things? I know that both of you have sort of a physics background, but obviously not. I think, Phil, you have a master's. Is that right?
I've got a PhD. Yeah.
Well, sorry,
Yeah.
Phil. Yes, you've got a PhD. Obviously, you're a professor. I meant Hugh. Hugh, you have a master's, right?
Yes, I have a master's. My master's isn't in physics, but yep, I've got a master's.
Okay.
And I did physics till second year in my undergraduate degree.
Right. Okay.
But I've done astronomy since I was a kid. My neighbour over the back had a 8-inch telescope he built himself, and I thought it was just fascinating to look at the stars and that sort of thing. In fact, I remember when I was 7 years old. So I guess that was grade 2. They sent us down to the library and said, find a book and come back and do a report on it. And I found this book on the planets. And at 7 years old, I didn't even know there were planets. And it just sort of opened up this world to me. And from that point on, I was hooked onto astronomy. And I've had various telescopes over the years. I've only got crappy ones at the moment, but I'll have to get some decent equipment eventually. And so, understanding our world became a bit of a passion. I've never been academically, I was never great at physics. This sort of exercise, doing this channel and looking at these arguments and relearning a whole lot of things I'd forgotten, it's been a wonderful experience, really. And that's the thing. It's all out there. You can go and find out this information, so you don't have to be in ignorance. You can understand the world the way it is. And
that's exactly true.
I got into debunking because of my daughter with the purple hair. 6 or 7 years ago, when Flat Earth had a bit of a resurgence, a lot of the people who fell for it were younger people. And this is not to insult them. I remember what I was like when I was 20 years old. My daughter's now 21. And you just don't know enough to know what you don't know. That's Dunning-Kruger incarnate. And, at 20 years old, I was almost finished my undergraduate degree, so I did know a lot. I knew a lot more than most people, but I was just 20. There's a whole lot of things I don't know. I certainly didn't know a lot about human nature, for example, which is a major part of the rest of my life, and things like that. And it's easy for people who have low knowledge and of all things in life to fall for things that seem plausible, especially if they're presented well. And that's what con men do. They present falsities in a believable way. And I felt, as a duty to my daughter and to anyone else in the same sort of position, I wanted to be able to put out, and I have skills in communication, so I felt I had something to offer. And I wanted to put out videos that debunked all the rubbish and have a bit of fun doing it, to be honest.
Yeah, there is a bit of fun to be had there. Well, I've got in my hand, which I plan to do later on, a jar full of sodium in paraffin.
Okay.
So this will be a bit of fun, cutting a bit of that off and putting it in some water. And
yes.
And
sodium hydroxide.
Are you aware of the? Well, there was an incident involving nuclear power in Britain, where they had some reactor coolant that was low-grade radioactive, and they had to dispose of it, and they had a disposal site that was approved for low-grade radioactive waste. So they put the low-grade coolant in the low-grade waste disposal, but it turned out that the low-grade coolant was sodium, and the low-grade disposal site was a well. So they had Yes, they dumped a significant proportion of, significant amount of sodium down this well with predictable results. And but this was not. But the British government decided not to classify this as a radioactive incident. This was a chemical accident.
Okay.
Because it involved a chemical reaction. Yes, nonetheless, there are still birds falling out of the sky today because they have found pieces of sodium and have swallowed them, believing that they're a useful form of grit. But not many. I will say, but
occasionally isn't that common in its in the metal form.
No.
Yeah.
Because it's so reactive.
Oh, it's in the air. It would like you've got to keep it in the paraffin simply because this the air's got a certain amount of moisture in it, and this moisture will oxidize the sodium. So so it won't last very long.
Yeah, the channel Veritasium had a video uploaded, I think yesterday, where he did experiments with potassium and different stuff.
Oh, that's even worse than sodium.
But it was so cool.
I want to get some.
There's potassium and sodium. I think he had a bunch of things. I have to watch it, or I have to finish it at least.
Yes.
But just yesterday, he uploaded one.
Yeah, well, if you put sodium, if you make an alloy out of sodium and potassium together, it actually becomes a liquid at room temperature.
Oh, really? I didn't know
so
that.
You can actually, it's like mercury. It becomes liquefied, and so you can actually pour it, which is quite interesting.
I've actually just found a video on that, so let me share that, and we'll have a look, and then we'll say hi to Glass Monster.
Just hoping the mic is working.
Yes, it is, mate.
Yes, it is. Hi.
Oh,
okay.
Just
watch this video. Yep.
We see that the
I wasn't sure because my
metals
thing wasn't lighting up.
under mineral oil to minimize its reaction with the oxygen in the air. If we remove a piece of potassium metal, we can see that the potassium is coated over with a gray coating of the oxide. As we continue down the column, group 1 metals get softer and softer. The potassium cuts very easily. As we cut through the metal, we expose the shiny metal surface underneath. The potassium is extremely soft. We can easily flatten out the potassium metal. It has a consistency of cream cheese. The potassium is a metal and is an excellent conductor of electricity. If we add a piece of potassium metal to water, we see that it reacts much more rapidly with the water than the sodium. As you go down the column, ionization energy decreases and the metal reactivity increases. The reaction is very exothermic, and the hydrogen that's produced ignites. We can test for the formation of potassium hydroxide by adding phenolphthalein. The solution turns red-purple due to the formation of potassium hydroxide.
All right, I think that's pretty much
that was planned. Yeah. So I even got some phenolphthalein today ready for that that little demonstration. As I was saying before, I've only actually seen this once, and that's francium in water. So francium is the most reactive. So right down the bottom, you've got sodium, potassium, cesium, francium.
So francium is inherently radioactive, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. And the best reaction will be francium and chlorine, or francium and fluorine.
Yep.
Now there is a reaction worth watching.
I'll see if I can find that. But I just want to say hello to Glass Monster, who's just joined us. Well, just before the video. How are you, mate?
Hello, YouTube. What is doing out there today?
Hello.
I'm doing good.
Hello. I said hello. I was just saying it at the same time as Phil. Phil and I speak with one voice, apparently.
There you go.
The atheists had one voice to vote out Trump.
Ooh,
only just worked.
I just found a video on rubidium. You want to see? Have a look at that?
Oh yes, that's a good one.
I haven't heard of rubidium. Well, apart from the periodic table, I haven't encountered it otherwise. Oops. Hang on.
It's actually an important element for dating purposes. Rubidium strontium ratios will give you an insight into the date of material.
Okay. This is Creative Commons. I hope the music isn't copyrighted. You store it in kerosene. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's paraffin, isn't it? Yeah.
It's paraffin wax. Paraffin. So basically, what you're doing is you're giving it the fuel.
Hang on, Phil. Let me see if I'll mute the music because they're not talking. Yep, you talk, Phil.
Yeah. So basically, what you're doing there is you're giving it the fuel. So the polymer is there. I think it was a polymer. Is the fuel that's needed there.
What was the wood? The cellulose in the wood.
There.
Yeah.
Yep. So cesium's another one. Bit radioactive, so I've run into that unfortunately badly at one time.
That looks like it.
Well, cesium is important, right? Because I mean, I think it's cesium that defines the second. Or am I wrong?
The clock.
Yeah. Cesium clocks, isn't it?
Yeah.
We use cesium to define the seconds. But yeah, there are a lot of really. Have you ever heard of a rocket fuel called FOOF? FOOF.
Creatively named.
It's fluorine, oxygen, fluorine.
Yeah.
It's apparently extremely exothermic.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with that at all. No.
Okay.
Oh, did Blue Marble Science come in? Yes, he is. There he is.
Blue.
Hello, Blue Marble Science. How are you?
Hey.
So, Glass Monsters, tell us about what you've been doing.
Working on engines, putting 3 snow blowers together for people that don't know how to operate them. You know, the usual.
You're good with your hands, aren't you?
Yeah, and building an amplifier.
An amplifier?
An amplifier, I think.
Oh, amplifier, yes. Yeah, you're into the old school tech, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
when it was actually when it was built to last a lifetime back in those days instead of until you get around the corner. Yeah, all right. I was just watching the chat. Yes,
is Blue's in the chat, but he's not in here. Is this the? Is that
I can send him a link. I can send him a link. Yeah, he's in the chat. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think Blue rather mischievously did his demonstration. Blue rather he kind of threw the cat amongst the pigeons again with his demonstration of how butane proves that entropy doesn't overcome gravity. I was sort of keen to hear from him how that's been going for him, because it seems like the sort of thing that Oakley and Kiwi are going to react poorly to.
Guess go down, go boom boom.
Yes.
Yes, that is.
It's helium balloon fall down, go boom boom.
Well, a helium
That's what it
balloon will
is.
fall down, go boom boom in a vacuum. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he thinks that this is worth saying. Yes, gases fall. They're impacted.
Yeah, he doesn't
by
believe
gravity.
that. He doesn't believe that. That's the point.
I mean, he just has to use baking powder and vinegar. Then you'll have a pretty heavy gas, kind of. You can pour out some candles with it.
Yeah.
Just not every
Yes,
gas that
CO2.
falls down in our atmosphere. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, it isn't. And I mean, relative density is only part of what's going on. In fact, we can work out how quickly something will rise, or how, due to buoyancy effects, or how quickly something will fall, based on the theory of gravity. Based on actual calculations with gravity. So yeah, I don't really understand their point here.
And now we're joined by Big Blue.
Hello.
How are you, Blue?
I'm trying to figure out how to make this thing work. Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, we can hear you, so.
Well, great.
It must be working.
That was the objective.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hey, Tony.
Oh, we got Gary Wybenga back. You pulled him out of the woodwork, Blue.
Oh, cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this? So, I hear often, how do you have gas pressure without a container? And I was just thinking, I'm just looking right here, and I've got something in my hand. So I can't show it to you, but I have. It's called a barometer, aneroid barometer.
Yep.
I was thinking, I can actually read the pressure of that. And trust me, I can walk around till I'm blue in the face. I'm not going to find a container.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
still
just
reading the gas
because
pressure.
the elite doesn't allow you to go to the container.
Oh, that must be it.
It's an idiotic claim. I'm not sure if that. So Gary actually took the bold step of appearing on one of MC Toon's recent debates. Were you guys fortunate enough to hear him sort of in the flesh, so to speak?
Yeah, Gary just sent something in the chat. He said, Hillbilly Blue proves gas pressure without a container by using a container. So he's in the topic.
He doesn't understand what he's talking about.
There's a surprise.
The whole flat Earth argument here is that entropy is strong enough that it will overcome the effects of gravity, and it doesn't matter how heavy the gas is. The flat earther argument is that it should get out of any container, provided the container doesn't have a top on it. That's the flat earther argument. The flat earther argument is that it doesn't matter how tall the atmosphere is, gas will escape from it because entropy can overcome gravity, even though entropy and gravity have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah.
It's a nonsensical argument, and Gary apparently understands that butane, as a result of Blue's marvelous experiment, he understands that butane is too heavy to get out of that pipe, but he doesn't understand that it tears his entropy argument apart.
Which was the objective, by the way.
which was the objective. And again, I started out in this community by pointing out just what fantastic science communicators the community is fortunate enough to have. Blue has proved it yet again. Just a really good experiment that proves in seconds flat that they're full of nonsense, that they're full of crap. Let's face it. I was going to say full of crap, and I pulled out at the last second, but let's call crap crap.
You can say full of shit.
Well, yeah. And you know, that's a really a semantic argument. It's kind of a silly argument. This with a container, without a container. Well, they should take stock of the fact that some things are containers, perfect containers for some items, but they don't work at all for other items.
Yeah.
I mean, I can carry milk back from the barn all day long in a bucket, but you try carrying a couple of hundred bumblebees back from the barn in a bucket. It just doesn't work. And it's the same thing with when we talk about gas, or in the first place in engineering. Yeah, and I think you guys would back me up on this. At least in engineering, when we're talking about gas pressure, we would never even mention the word container to begin with.
No.
Gas pressure is contained in a vessel or a cylinder or a receiver or something like that, not a container. That's a very amateur sort of term to be using. And when you speak about gas pressure, you're automatically inferring that it is a pressure something different than atmospheric pressure. Therefore, you have to have a sealed barrier of some sort. A sealed container can be used at that point if you want to.
Yeah.
To separate those two pressures, that break between two different pressures. But once you take the top off of it, that damn thing is no longer a container for gas pressure. And these guys can flip and flop and wallow around and scream and bitch and moan all they want to. They're never going to make me say that an open pipe is a container for gas. Damn it. It just isn't.
No. And I mean, their whole thing is based around sort of misinterpretation of quite specific terms. When you quote it,
on the very
sorry,
on the very thinnest evidence, you can say it's not a container for pressurized gas. You could potentially say pour sulfur hexyl fluoride in there, and it would stay for a while.
Well, it's still under pressure.
Yeah,
but no pressure.
So that when in Blue's video, he shows Quantum Eraser discussing, a volume. A volume is any region in three-dimensional space that is surrounded by a closed surface. Now, I'm a mathematician. When I hear the phrase closed surface, I know exactly what is being referred to, and it's nothing physical. A closed surface is simply a surface in which the interior of the surface has no connection to the outside of the surface, which is to say that the surface contains its own boundary. And that's all that's necessary to define pressure, to define volume, to define any of the elements that are flat earthers make such a fuss about when they're dealing with gases. A pressure sensor, like an aneroid barometer, doesn't know if it's inside a sealed container or not. It has no idea. It is simply taking a measurement of the pressure around it. That pressure is supplied by the force of the gas molecules striking it. But it's independent of the existence of a container. It doesn't matter. The container can be there, cannot be there. The pressure sensor is going to detect the pressure that is being applied to it. It cares nothing about flat earther semantic arguments. Does that
No,
make sense? Oh, prattling.
That's exactly right. That is precisely the way it is.
Yeah. So
the mere notion, and this is where the lie begins, and it's been this way for a long time now, with Nathan Oakley and his crew of well, anyway, I won't say anything like that, like I was about to say.
We all know.
Yeah,
his crew of crackpot contrarians. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that'll do. When they start the discussion by saying the necessary antecedent for gas pressure is a container, that is just a flat falsehood, just an outright lie. There is nothing anywhere in physics, anywhere in engineering, and no citation that anyone can come up with. Are you hearing me, Jerry Wybinger? Come on and show it to me. Find a citation that says that. Find any credible citation from any credible source that says you must have a container to have gas pressure. And I assure you, sir, you will not find it. It doesn't exist. And the reason it doesn't exist is because that just is not true.
Yeah.
There, I feel better. How was that for a rant?
That was pretty good. I think you need some lessons on how to yell a little bit, Blue. But we can.
And of course, they deny telescopes.
They deny telescopes. I hadn't.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, they don't like the idea that when you tell them that you looked at the moon through a telescope and it's kind of obvious there was shadows on it.
Mm-hmm.
They say, no, that's refraction and light being blocked by something. Like what?
Our German flat earthers say oftentimes that the moon is just a hologram because when it's dark outside, the sky looks black. And the moon has gray shadows, so it shines through. And at daytime, when you see the moon, it seems blue. So therefore you can see through the moon, and therefore it's just a hologram.
Okay, so I have heard the suggestion that the moon is a hologram, and I have wanted to ask one of the proponents of this theory. How do they explain the existence of testimony about the moon that predates the existence of holographic technology?
I'd like to know where the energy comes from to create a hologram like that.
Well, that's another excellent question.
It's a power source.
What the elite hides. They hide
pretty
everything.
Substantial holograph generator.
Yeah, so it's not like the moon suddenly burst into existence in the past 100 years or so. People were observing the moon for some centuries before holographic technology became available to us.
Yeah, but the aliens generated it, you see, so it wasn't us.
Aliens, okay.
And you know what generates the power? You want to know what generates the power for the hologram? The magical bullshit machine.
Yeah.
I was going to guess farts, but that's the same thing, I guess.
Pretty much, yes.
It's electromagnetism. I don't know how that works, but it's just electromagnetism because I know that word.
Well, that's what the first was. Yes.
Somebody's got to turn their volume up.
Well, who's the somebody?
When he talks again, I'll point him out.
Was it you, Phil? Say something, Phil.
I find it difficult to believe that I need to turn my volume up.
No.
No, yours is fine.
No, Phil's fine.
But you'll forgive me for dragging the conversation back to my original question. Hugh, I got your answer. So Jessy, what was it that drew you into sort of debunking debunking absolute nonsense that every sane human being knows is false?
I was always very passionate about science, and I just can't understand how other people don't feel that way. And especially since the whole COVID-19 thing, the conspiracy theories are just insane. And I discussed quite a lot with people in my Facebook friend list, but they did all block me. And so I said, well, then I go on YouTube and tell people that they're stupid. So yeah, I've got quite a few messages afterwards where people just said they kind of miss my comments because they learned so much, and that they think it's very sad that they all blocked me. And that kind of was the final thing to say, well, okay, then I do it.
Okay. Please be careful, because the next I almost ejected my drink through my nose as a result of your last comment. So
yeah, she's hilarious sometimes. Yeah, I subbed to you the other day.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I mean, the last 2 weeks were just wild in context of my channel, because I mean, Conspiracy Cats, I think, started the whole thing when he shouted me out, and then Mr. Sensible, Irish Demon, and now I'm here, and it's pretty wild the last 2 weeks.
Well,
my YouTube and my Discord are in the private chat.
Mm-hmm.
We can't,
I've seen it.
have enough people knocking this nonsense to bits. There are enough silly people in the world without adding to them.
Yeah. It's interesting that I can say yeah and kill the conversation. Everybody expects me to go on a protracted rant of some sort, yell at somebody.
But can you, Tony? Can you?
Yes, I can.
We have faith.
Well,
We
I'll
got
help
faith
you
in
out.
you, Tony.
Tony, I'll help you out. You can't have pressure without a container. The Earth is flat, kids. Space is fake. NASA's lying to ya.
Large bodies of water do not curve.
Oh, God.
Space must suck up the whole atmosphere without a container.
You guys are horrible.
It's the pushytrons that keep things down.
The pushytrons. Okay. It's one of the things that gets me is sort of and one of the things that I wanted to talk with Phil about, actually, the next time we get to do a stream. I'm not sure if you heard the Nathan Oakley yelling at Whitsett and Nathan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the gas goes down, go boom boom one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the gas goes down. So
Gas
goes down. Boo boo. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
If he calls me hillbilly blue balls one more time, Nathan's gonna fall down and go boom boom.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just got no idea how irrelevant he is to any sane human being. But they were having a heated discussion about whether or not there was a downward force that applies to objects near Earth's surface, or to objects denser than its Earth's surface. I don't understand why they're persisting with the relative density argument. We use gravimeters all the time. We can prove that relative density doesn't explain a thing. This is one of the things that we have observation campaigns for. So not
but
exactly
it's difficult
sure.
to explain that to someone who doesn't know much about physics. where it's easy to explain density to them, and that's why they persist with it, because they believe that they can fool people with their relative density thing.
I mean, it's the only explanation they have. On a flat Earth, gravity can't exist, and therefore there's no chance that they would even just think about the possibility of gravity, because it would just destroy their whole point.
Yeah.
I mean, imaginary point, but still.
Well, if I were a flat earther, I could have an infinitely wide half space, and then gravity would just pull down, right? It wouldn't. The counter argument is that if the Earth has finite width, then as you approach the width, gravity is going to act in towards the center of mass of the disk, rather than downwards. So you'll be able to tell. But if you've got an infinitely wide, object, two-dimensional object, or an arbitrarily large object, and we're nowhere near the edge of it, then you're not really going to notice the change in orientation of the gravitational vector. So all that you require then is an infinitely strong disk that is capable of resisting gravitational forces. And if I were at all susceptible to flat Earth, that's what I'd probably be suggesting, rather than that gravity doesn't exist. But I guess you need the universe not to exist anyway, because you need the sun to be behaving differently and everything else. But it just seems like a weird argument to pick.
It is. But just before, can I just interrupt for a sec? Jessy mentioned earlier that she wanted to do a video on Dell, and the Snark has already done one. So I thought I'd share this.
I said I could never do a video on Dell because I don't know what he's saying.
You are not the only one, Jessy.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. Oh, is that Gary? Oh, Gary.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, the Snark.
Oh yeah, Dell is something else.
He is. It's. I don't know. It's astonishing to me. They have. They take the trouble to equip themselves with some quite sophisticated terminology, like you would not expect a mental midget of Dell's infinitesimal stature to know what pseudoscience is, to be throwing around the word hypothesis. But he does. He just has no idea what they mean. He's just, it's just strange. They take the time to learn these big words without any of the concepts that might go with them. It just seems a bit confounding to me.
Oh yeah.
So sometime last year.
Go, Phil.
Sometime it was either last year or the year before that he put on. Dell decided to go out and to wear a tuxedo and bow tie, and then he bought some fake glasses and he did a parody of me. So that was
really
funny, actually. Yeah, so he's actually got that video on.
Wow. Well, at least he pays you attention. How about that?
Oh, it's worth a watch because it is quite funny, actually. I have to admit it is funny. Yeah.
Wow. I don't want to really be copyright struck for that, but everyone can go to Dell's channel and do that. But I don't recommend you going to Dell's channel. You won't understand a word he says. Oh, did Glass Monster fall out? Put him back in.
It's actually pretty amusing to go to Dale's channel and turn closed captioning on.
Yes.
You can read things you have never read before in your life. It's just a random series of disconnected words.
But it got better. It was worse at some point.
I didn't hear you, Jesse.
I said it has gotten better. It was worse at some point, the closed captions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a function of voice recognition software, though. I've had to introduce a few systems like that to my clients, and they design them so that they can understand Asians with heavy Asian accents speaking, but for some reason they forgot the Scottish when they did their testing. The Scots who live next to the English and not on the other side of the world like the Asians do. That's just the way they did the software. I guess there's only, what is there, 6-7 million Scots, so it's not a major market. So they aim for the bigger market like China, which has got billions. So.
Well, it's one of the features of languages, actually, that the closer you are to the origin of the language, the more accents you will encounter. And we're quite Australia is quite weird because we don't have that many accents. America has a broad diversity of accents, but it's not really easy to tell where in Australia somebody comes from just on the basis of their accent.
We have the difference in country and city, though, which is pretty common no matter where you are in the world. But that's about all you can tell.
Where in the world do you think I'm coming from by my accent?
Northeast US.
I know where Glass Monster is coming from, but so I'm invalid.
Yeah. We'll let HUGH JARSZ take the guess.
Well, my guess was, you're not New England, but in the northeastern corner of the US, would be my guess.
New Brunswick, Canada.
No. Well, it's the same general region, yeah. In Australia, we think 100 kilometres isn't very far, so.
Interesting historical trivia is that the Scottish actually speak a more pure version of English than the English do in terms of historical continuity. After the Norman invasion, a lot of English nobles fled to Scotland and took the language with them. So stuff like
you mean more Germanic English? Yeah.
So more the more Old English got preserved in Scotland than has been preserved in sort of modern English. So when they talk about bands being children or that sort of thing, that's actually more correct English if we're looking at it from the Old English perspective.
Yeah, and
completely useless.
But it's very similar because I found a channel, I can't recall how it's called, but they speak Old English. And I was so amazed with knowing English, German, and a tiny bit of Latin. I could understand most of the things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's weird to sort of think on it that way, but we modern English is actually not very English to some extent.
Yeah, I'm skilled in I'm skilled only in 3 languages: English, English, and English.
Not swearing?
No, that's French. I try not to use it too often, especially on stream.
But yeah, so I mean, Dell obviously, his arguments aren't invalid because he has an accent. They're invalid because they're just stupid. And it's one of the weird elements. like this guy, Water is Level, who was on MC Toon's channel the other day. Whenever MC Toon would say, well, the fact that you don't understand something doesn't make it so, or MC Toon made a number of statements along those lines. He would say, well, that's an ad hominem fallacy. No, actually, calling an idiot is not an ad hominem fallacy. It's just a diagnosis. You're an idiot. I'm sorry about that, but it's not an insult. It's not an ad hominem fallacy. It's just a statement of fact, and it's a little bit frustrating that they throw the ad hominem turnaround on it.
Because they don't use it properly. It's also the strawman fallacy and all that. They just use the terms, but not for the proper fallacy. They just use it to try to discredit anything you say, even though they don't actually
you as well.
know.
Because when you're in a debate, they want to sort of knock you off your feet. Because most people don't think about fallacies. And until Nathan Thompson started doing it on modern day debates, none of us really talked along those lines either. And of course, now we've had to learn all our fallacies just so that we can counter these idiots. But they're just trying to disrupt you so that you lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
And look like you don't know what you're talking about.
But the funny thing is, the more they use scientific terms or professional terms, the more stupid they sound, because they use it in such a wrong way. Of course, someone who doesn't know anything about the topic, maybe that would sound kind of impressive, but even with my kind of knowledge, I haven't had any scientific background or professional training in that case. Even I can see that just makes no sense what they're saying.
Did you almost fall out of your chair laughing any amount of times?
What?
Did you almost fall out of your chair laughing at what they say?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's like my 6-year-old nephew. When he hears a new word, he just uses it the whole day. Until at some point you would say, oh yes, that's right. And then he's so proud. And that's the same with the flat earthers. They learn a new word, for example, gas pressure, and they throw it around everywhere, regardless of the topic. And at some point it makes sense, and you say, okay, now you are actually right. And they think they know everything. It's like with children.
Yeah. No. And don't insult children.
Yeah, it's worse than children.
Yeah, don't insult children. Don't even insult infants.
But it's very true. They just adopt a throw it against the wall and see what sticks attitude. It makes them somewhat pitiful figures in an intellectual sense, because they don't understand just how utterly bankrupt their argumentation is.
Intellectually bankrupt, you mean? Yep.
Yeah, intellectually bankrupt. Well, also morally bankrupt. It's the guy arguing against MC2 the other day, he thought he was absolutely thrashing MC2 hollow. He was firmly convinced that he was winning this argument hands down. And you're just like, you're just out here publicly humiliating yourself. You're
Dr. Bob put it well. He said it's the arrogance of ignorance.
Yeah.
I think the sad thing is it's actually willful ignorance. I mean, look, I don't want to put shit on somebody out there in the chat, but I just want to speak to you, Gary. Listen, you could actually learn something about the Rayleigh criterion. So what Gary's saying basically is that the Rayleigh criterion is responsible for the fact that ships look as though they that they are disappearing bottom first. So he's saying it's the Rayleigh criterion. Well, I've got news for you. Everything, all of the object, would be subject to the diffraction limit if that was the case.
Yes.
I mean, how hard is that to understand?
Yes, it's the Rayleigh criterion refers to the angular our inability of the human eye to distinguish two light sources at a given distance that are a given angular separation. That all of the ship is at that distance away. So the question is, why is it only the bottom of the ship that is impacted by the Rayleigh criterion? It should apply to the top of the ship just as efficiently and just as effectively as the bottom of the ship. There is no physical mechanism explaining why the Rayleigh criterion just applies to the bottom of the ship systematically as is observed.
Well, it can't, and it doesn't.
Yes,
and
exactly.
the point that Gary and people like Gary miss consistently is the simple fact that the Rayleigh criterion has never caused anything to disappear. Nothing disappears. The stars that we see every night are way, way, way smaller than the Rayleigh criterion. Yet we see them just fine.
Well, actually, it gets worse. It gets worse because if you look at some wind turbines, you can actually tell the difference between the blades, and some of the blades are quite close together. You know, when you're looking at two wind turbines together. Well, for goodness sake, if the entire bottom was disappearing, those blades would not appear as two separate objects. You'd be able to see they would be completely compressed into one.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, that is the whole point. I mean, Blue's point about stars. So, for instance, Sirius is actually multiple stars. There are, there's a white dwarf circling, orbiting around the larger of the two stars. But we don't see two stars, right? The human eye is not a delicate enough instrument to detect that there are two stars there. That's an example of Rayleigh criterion, right? We cannot see that there are two stars in Sirius. Okay, fine. Rayleigh criterion, great. But, this whole idea of, not only should it, and this is getting back to Phil's point, not only should it operate top to bottom in the same, it should operate side to side in the same, which is to say that the object should be getting narrower if we're not getting any detail out of it. If we're losing detail, we should be losing lateral detail as well as vertical detail. But instead, it's only the detail that is related to the bottom of the object that is being lost. That is not and cannot be Rayleigh criterion. It's just
precisely. Exactly.
And I mean, you can there's a classic photograph of this where where a ship is going across the horizon. Actually, there are multiple ships from the same company, and they have the same writing on them. One of them you can see all of the writing. The other one's slightly further away, and you can see half the writing. The writing is undistorted at the point where the horizon meets the boat. If it's Rayleigh criterion, that writing has to be impacted. It doesn't make any sense. It's got no explanatory power.
Well,
he just wrote in the chat. He calls it angular compression.
Yeah,
that's his explanation.
This is crazy. This is what the guy talks about all the time. Angular compression. And I would ask him this. Okay, go ahead.
And to think there's a scientific theory with the name Riley. The same as some flat earther, which is terrible. That's
Well,
insulting.
it's Raleigh, not Riley.
What I was trying to point out is this: if you're stood on a beach at an eye level of 6 feet off the water, let's say, let's make it even easier, make it 5 feet off the water, and you're looking at a ship on the horizon that has a total height of 100 feet. Is the angle to the bottom 10 feet of that boat smaller or larger than your angle from your eye to the top 10 feet of that boat? And Gary, I would suggest you learn some geometry, my friend, because you're going to find out that the angle to the top of the damn boat is actually a little less than the angular size of the bottom of it from your point of view.
Yeah,
Draw it out.
I'd also suggest that Gary studied the concept of solid angles, which are the three-dimensional analog of two-dimensional angles. So the solid angle subtended by an object at a particular distance, it's a geometry. Geometry doesn't back you up, and this is exactly what I was just saying. Like, the side-to-side compression, or the side-to-side vanishing due to any visual effect should be the same as the top to bottom. And this gets back to what Phil was saying and back to what Blue was saying. There's no reason for the bottom of the object to be magically affected by this mystical angular compression more than anything else. And Gary, I'm sorry to say it, you're an idiot. You're just dumb. Okay, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're an idiot. I really am. I wish you weren't. But you are. So live with it. And perhaps don't waste your life. Like I notice whenever we're on stream, here you are making some nonsensical pronouncements about something that is completely unreal. Have you nothing better to do with your time than chase after this phantom that perhaps, flat earth hallucinations are going to make you suddenly important? Live your life, Gary. Don't dedicate it to some stupid con that, Nathan Oakley and friends have persuaded you about. For God's sake.
Brainwashed, Gary. Very clearly.
Oh, yeah.
This is not malice. You're wasting your life. You've only got a finite lifespan on Earth, and you are pissing it away on absolute horse shit. Wake up to yourself.
Well, wandering around stupid and clueless is not a good way to live your life. That is a fact.
No.
Well, unless you're a politician, where it's a requirement.
Well, actually, you're right.
Yeah, you got the three large doorknobs over there: Trump, Biden, and Obama.
Well, I mean, there's a limit to. You can blame politicians, but we actually voters create the environment. Yes. We reward politicians who will lie to our faces. And we punish the politicians who tell us the truth. I forget the name of the senator, the Democratic senator who admitted, posing for a photograph with a female reporter, and got kicked out of the Senate as a result. Whereas Trump just flat out denied that he ever said anything or did anything inappropriate, and people reward him for it. So, if the electorate is going to reward mendacious idiots, then we can't complain about the fact that we get mendacious idiots.
Yeah, voters are responsible. That's why don't vote. It only encourages them.
I disagree with that too. I think
I'm only joking.
Yeah, I think we need a better educated electorate is what I think we need. But
Oh, we need government to provide that education. Oh, that's the problem. Okay.
Yeah. But also we need more transparency. I think that's in most governments. I think, of course, the party that gets voted has certain targets that they want to do. But at the end, there are maybe so many relationships between different economies, and if we do this, it would have an effect on the people or on some international relationships that we don't know about. So maybe for us, it oftentimes seems just stupid what they're doing, or the things like, why haven't you done ABC? But you wanted to. There may be reasons we as normal people just will never know.
Yeah, so
that's correct.
I don't necessarily disagree with anything that's been said, but I want to stay off politics if we can.
Yeah. No, I do want to give a shout out to Planet Walk, who directed a comment at me. Hello, sir. Good to see you. I don't know who the person you're referencing is. I have to admit my ignorance there. So,
was he the Deputy Premier in New South Wales?
I don't know who that is.
Anyway, again, that's politics. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
guys, I just wanted to wrap this up. I have to go now, but I wanted to say a big thank you to you, Hugh. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, thank you so much for the stream.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of it, Jessy. Hopefully, we can have you on again at some time in the future.
Of course, if you let me, I will be there, of course.
And don't forget to subscribe to Jessy if you haven't already.
Thank you so much. Have fun,
Lovely
guys.
meeting you, Jessy.
Thank you, Jessy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. So I'm happy to keep going if you guys are happy.
Well, Hugh, unfortunately, I have to go too, so I'll let you guys, but I'll try and listen in the background. I better shoot through, but thanks very much for having me as well.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's getting close to midnight for you, actually, isn't it?
It is almost midnight. Yep.
Yeah. So you want to sleep at some point, I guess.
No worries.
It's a school
Have a
night
good
after all. All right.
Okay.
Thanks again, Phil.
Okay, bye.
Big Blue's popped out, so that leaves Tony and Glass Monster. Come on, Glass, say a few things. You've been a bit quiet. I know it's been a bit hard to get a word in each way with Tony saying he can.
A few things.
Oh, yes. Okay. You grew up in Monty Python, didn't you? Yes.
You did say a
You
few
brought-
things.
Yes, well, yeah, that's the old joke. It's almost like a
It
Goon
is.
Show line.
It is the old joke, yes. So yeah, it just.
So how goes the experiment, Blue?
I think Blue's popped out.
Oh.
He'll be back, though. So you can ask him then.
Yeah. So what have you been working on recently?
Well, Tony or me?
You.
Well, I've been working on my video in response to Rachel's questions, Rachel 50s. But the video I'm releasing tomorrow morning is part of Les Irrelatables, you never say it properly, is about cars. I haven't done a car video yet. And I went to, over the Australia Day weekend, which we just had, I went to a car show, which is a charity car show. It was for a really great cause. It was an organisation that runs PTSD programs for first responders, both people in emergency services and the military, who, in their service of everyone else, they get PTSD and their mental health suffers. And this organisation runs programs to help them cope with that PTSD and learn the skills they need to get on with their lives as a result, because they've suffered in the service of us all. So it's the least we can do. So it was a great charity to be able to contribute to. But the Classic Car Show that was run to raise the funds, that was pretty awesome too. So I filmed it. I haven't used a video camera before for a video. So I was just trying that out, and hopefully people will find it interesting. There were a lot of interesting Jaguars and Alfa Romeos and Volvos and things like that there, and a really cool Lamborghini. So hopefully people will enjoy that tomorrow morning. That's well, tomorrow morning my time when it's released. I think 8.
Yeah.
It's going to be released at 10 p.m. UTC.
Yeah. Well, it's 8:50 a.m. my time.
Well, it's 10:50 p.m. here, and
Yeah.
11:50 p.m. where Tony is.
Exactly
Yeah.
so.
And I managed to fail to get to sleep last night. I could not shut off.
Nice. Well, yeah, there are. I don't know. Do you have mindfulness exercises that you try when that sort of thing besets you?
If I was Irish Demon, I'd say watch one of PhD Tony's videos. But I'm not Irish Demon.
But you're not Irish Demon, so you're not that mean.
No, I wouldn't be that mean.
That's fortunate then. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you're the only one that's not on my Discord server out of the 4 beardsmen.
Well, I have to say, there are particular pitfalls to Discord. And Discord was one of the first social media platforms on which I started debating, and it didn't actually turn out so well. So I tend to avoid servers where flat earthers turn up. I don't regard them actually as worthwhile, because what I'm trying to do is not educate the flat earther, because the flat earther is basically a lost cause. I want an audience, and for an audience to occur, requires something other than Discord. But
3/4 of the ones on my server are electronics nuts, scientists and engineers, people that like cars.
I don't like cars. And now that brings me to something that I was going to talk to Hugh about. I noticed that you're a bit of an Alfa Romeo fan.
Yes, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I used to often have to walk to school in the morning.
You drove a Ford, eh?
No, but on walking to school, I had to walk past an Alfa Romeo dealership. And I always thought that Alfa Romeos looked quite stylish. There were some Alfa Romeos that I thought looked very nice. So I've never been much of a fan of cars, but one of the few brands I do have a strong positive impression of are Alfa Romeos, and I just happened to notice that you're an Alfa Romeo aficionado. You perhaps own more Alfa Romeos than the average human being might be expected to own. Let's just put that.
No, Alpha stands for always looking for another. So most Alfa Romeo people own more than one.
Okay. So
where was that dealership, Tony? Was that in Melbourne, Sydney? What?
No, that was in Newcastle.
Okay.
That was in Broadmeadow, which is where the high school I attended was. I had to walk all the way from Adamstown in order to get there, which are names that probably mean nothing to anybody in the chat or anybody ever. Though interestingly, I have been reunited with a couple of people that I had lost contact with as a result of doing streams on debunking streams. Turns out that a guy I actually had met in real life in my teens turns out to be a fan of Team Skeptic. I have a brother who has 2 jobs, who I don't get to see very often, but it turns out that he's a huge fan of Mr. Sensible. So there are a couple of yes. Every right-thinking person should be, exactly. But
correct thinking person anyway. Yeah.
Well, what's that make me? Sliced bologna?
Well, I think
Careful, I'm
you
feeling
are.
hungry.
I
And
think
don't
you
get
are.
any ideas. Don't get any ideas, Hugh Jarsh, after me describe myself as a slice of bologna. You don't need to get hungry.
I think you are a fan of Mr. Sensible, are you not? Am I misremembering? So,
Of course I am.
doesn't that make you a right-thinking individual?
I hope so.
Okay.
But
Well, there you go.
never
I
think
didn't
straight
mean to.
anyways.
I didn't mean to calumniate you. There's a word you can look up. You're welcome.
I'm just looking at the land basing that Gary's getting in the chat. But yeah, I
Just-
really think
just
with people like
remember-
Gary, that the more we ignore them, the more likely they are to go away. So
Yeah, it's quite easy on my channel because I blocked him. Yeah. I don't see the point, Gary. You're a waste of time and energy. You know, if you're not prepared to learn anything and you're not prepared to be intellectually honest, you're basically an oxygen thief, as far as I can tell.
I think Carl Edwards has got it right. He can't give up a good chew toy.
Mhm.
Well, come join.
Actually,
you're
when
back. So
Blue's
Blue's
back, I
back.
think.
Yep.
He's unmuted. Yeah. Dora and Koo sent me a coffee, bought me a cup of coffee, and said, "Get some treats for the corgis and buy a chew toy for myself."
Dora is such a great person. Though, the story has by now entered folklore, but she was the first person to note the more than superficial resemblance I bear to Daniel Pratt.
What, superficial? You're a dead ringer.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Give us one of the laughs. Go on. You can do it. No, not insane enough.
No, I can't do his laugh. I can do the slack-jawed, gaping, soulless stare that he manages. But no, I can't do his laugh.
It really doesn't carry the same weight though without the hoodie and the water heater. You need you got to have a better. You need a green screen. Yeah,
Crazy stare as well.
Well, I can do the stare. Like, you just widen your eyes, you make sure that your mouth's hanging open, and you take the glasses off and you put a hoodie on. That's fine. I can do all that. But I just can't do the laugh.
I can help you with the quality of that stare. There's this patter you get from the dealer, and you need a razor blade and a straw.
Okay, well,
that'll help you with the blank stare.
I wouldn't. I'm pretty good at blank stares. It's a natural talent I have. But he's Dora was. Apparently, the first time I was on stream, Dora was watching and she had it on mute. And she's going, "Oh, well, Team or Fight the Flat Earth, I forget who it was, are doing some sort of interview with Daniel Pratt." Okay. and it wasn't until she sort of turned back to the screen and actually started paying attention. This guy doesn't sound like Daniel Pratt at all. Which was at least a little bit flattering.
Well, it sort of backpedaled back from calling you Daniel Pratt, I guess. But yeah.
Yes, that's right. And yes, Planet Walk, you should definitely look up the word calumniate. It's a very worthwhile word to know.
It's a perfectly cromulent word.
I would suggest that it's positively pulchritudinous.
Yep.
It would make you a great filibuster word if you need to interfere with the flat earthers.
Well, Yes. I don't know. I had vaguely heard of the concept of a calumny, and then I started reading up on some mythology, and it turned and they said, and this myth feeds into the old trope of the calumniated wife, and that was all it took. That one reference, and that word has stayed with me for decades ever since. I've just never been able to forget it now. So
I'm getting the impression people want you to spell that word so they can look it up.
Okay, calumny is spelled
Just type it in the chat.
Okay, let me do that. Where is the chat?
You have to go to YouTube to do it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it
Yep,
took a plumber
I know.
to tell you to use chat.
Well, you know.
That's what he got his PhD for.
Are you really a plumber?
If the sink's leaking, I am.
Yes. So the Sable Eagle says drugs until I cannot pronounce that word. Ex Penguin 95 calumny, the making of false and defamatory statements about someone. Yes, exactly. It's a very useful word.
So now in all our future videos, we're going to use it in some way.
Yes, and I'll have to come up with another word like pulchritudinous.
Discombobulation.
Discombobulation, exactly.
This conversation is getting discombobulated. Where did my discombobulator go to?
We're starting to absquatulate a bit too.
Yes. Stevie B says, "Yep, I will never use that ever."
I probably won't either.
Well, you guys aren't trying.
Well, it embiggens you, of course.
It
being a cromulent
embiggens
word.
Yes. Well, I don't need to be embiggened. Thank you very much. I am big enough already.
That's what she said.
English is a wonderful language, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, Sue said Latin was a dead language. Fred. Fred's the guy who said Latin was a dead language, yeah.
Yes.
Red pill, blue pill.
So we've been going for 3 hours, would you believe it? You guys came in later, but yeah.
You may have. I of course skipped the preliminaries when you had the also rans on, but yeah.
Well, Jessy.
I realised belatedly that that's who I was talking about. Yes, which is less than charitable.
We'll just have to tell her that. Yes.
Yeah.
Soundbite.
Oh, I think we soundbite. Yes. Yeah. Well, I heard a joke today. It's a bit funny. This guy went to the doctor and said, "Doctor, my asshole hurts." He said, "How do you know it hurts?" "Oh, it hurts around the entrance." And the doctor said, "Well, there's your problem. Stop considering it the."
There you go.
Oh goodness. Ta-dump.
Yes, boomtish. Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
I think we've run out of things to talk about, have we? We might as well go to bed. Well, not you Americans, of course. Or Canadians, North Americans.
Certainly, that was my plan, was to go to bed. But thank you very much for having me on, and always good to catch up with people.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for being here.
You're extremely welcome. Great to see you, Glass, and always a pleasure to catch up with you, Blue.
Yeah, good to see
long.
you guys too.
Daryl M is saying that SN9 could be flying tonight. I tried to look for it. I couldn't find it on the SpaceX YouTube channel anyway. So they're not thinking it's going to happen tonight, but there were sort of others that I wouldn't dare copyright that sort of suggested it might fly, but it's more likely to fly tomorrow. So that'd be interesting to see. A 9-hour window, Daryl M says. So, yeah, I'm not going to stay up for that.
Well, it's good of Daryl M to point it out for us.
Yes. All right. So thank you very much, Tony. You've pretty much said your goodbye. So, Glass Monster, thank you very much for being on. Do you want to say your final words?
Oh, hopefully we can eventually make Flat Earth no longer exist and get rid of the YEC movement right along with it.
Well, I think there will always be those things while there are stupid people, and there will always be stupid people, but whether or not they're significant or not, that's another issue, I guess. And
well,
that's our job to make them not so significant.
Yeah, quite a few of them took themselves out of commission by going to a certain location on the wrong on the 6th. So they found themselves some accommodation, so hopefully away from YouTube's.
Well, we will see.
All right, mate. So thanks for being on. Blue, I'd love to do a live stream with you at some point in the future. I think it's the first time you've been on my live stream.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that sometime.
Yeah, so thanks very much for coming on.
Oh, you betcha. It was up a little earlier. I've got some work to do on Cavendish today, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave you to have your breakfast while I go to bed.
I'll be puttering around out there while you guys are getting some sleep.
Yeah. And thanks to Jessy 10-2 and the Snark for coming on earlier on as well. We had some problems with the mic on the Snark, but we'll get him next time. He's always an interesting guy to talk to. So like I said, tomorrow, I think we figured out it was 10:15 UTC. My car show video will be on. So if you want to see some classic cars, check out that video. And at some point in the very near future, I hope, hopefully by the weekend, I'll have my Raichi 000 questions video out. Oh, Professor Phil Bell was on as well. Thank you to him as well. I'm going to get Professor Phil to check out my video before I release it, just to make sure I got all the answers correct. Because he's a bit more, being a professor, he probably has some better idea than I do about those sort of things. Yeah, I think that's just about it. So if we're all ready to go, I'll play the outroll. Let me get that ready. Sorry, say again?
Just before you end, you should check out Bob the Science Guy's new satellite video or telescope video. He got himself a new mount.
Yeah, I heard that was on. I saw that was on, but I was getting ready for this. So yeah. He's always interesting with what he does. All right, I reckon. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next live stream.
See you later.
But cue the corgi.
It's not a real dog, that.